Bless FM radio, play good.
Them I wonder how Bless Radio do this. I see them come with tumble. Future prophet tell them we lungs get longer. He they not it on it. Bless Radio, you don't know. Pop the good music. Play.
Africa unite, cause we're moving right out of Babylon, and we're going to our father's land. Yeah. How good and how pleasant it would be before God and man, yeah, to see the unification of all Africans, yeah. Has it been said already? Let it be done, yeah. We are the children of the Rastaman. We are the children of the Ayaman. Africa unite, cause the children wanna come home, yeah. Africa unite, cause we're moving right out of Babylon, and we're grooving to our father's land. Yeah. How good and how pleasant it would be before God and man to see the unification of all Rastaman. Yeah. Has it been said already? Let it be done. I tell you who we are under the sun. We are the children of the Rastaman. We are the children of the Ayaman. Africa unite, Africa unite, yeah. Unite for the benefit of your people. Unite for it's later than they think. Unite for the benefit of your children. Unite for it's later than they think. Africa, await its creators. Africa, awaiting its creators. Don't you rock my boat, cause I don't want my boat to be rocking anyhow.
Let's and greetings to each and everyone, all the listeners.
Don't you rock my
right in tune to the Jammaster live drive time, designed to drive your mind to a high time in no time, right here live at Bless Community Radio.org.
I like it, I like this. Can you miss? And you should know. Ooh, when I like this. I'm a really is.
That's right, live on Bless. And today we're going to talk about activating your mind. How to achieve the higher level of maximizing your potential. Breaking down some words to resonate into your higher essence, so you'll be able to use practical knowledge rather than preaching and teaching. This is going to be a design that you can actually use it to motivate, stimulate and optimize all your actions in a practical manner. Live here on blessradio.org. The only place to listen to this is right here, so keep your dials locked, get your notebooks ready. If you're driving, keep both hands on the steering wheel. It's going to be one of those today. Thank you.
We feel like sweepstake winners, yeah. Well, we've been them new corners. We feel like sweepstake winners. And I said, oh, ooh, oh, I like it like this. Yes, I do. And you should know, ooh, oh, when I like it like this, I got it, just can't miss. Ooh, satisfy my soul, darling. Make me love you in the morning time, yeah. If ever I treated you bad, make it up to me one time. 'Cause I'm happy inside all the time. I want you beside me, yeah, to be mine. One thing you got to do is when we holding hands together, you've got to know that we love each other, yeah. And if every time you should walk away from me, you know I need your sympathy, yeah. Can you see? Do you believe me? Oh, darling, darling, I'm calling. Satisfy my soul. Satisfy my soul. Never give it up now. All in the same boat. Rocking on the same road. We got to get together. Loving each other. And can't you see what I've got for you, yeah? I'm happy, and not even time to be blue.
Bringing the sounds of the Taurus Riley. And this show is all designed to activate your true, natural human nature life here on Bless.
Voice, shake my window, sweet seducing sighs.
Let me tell you, if you're not wrong, then why? Everything is alright. So we're gonna walk, alright, through the roads of creation. We the generation, tell me why. Try to
I'm blessed. Once again, I'd like to welcome each and everyone to the show right here, alongside Dougie as well. Also, if you'd like to contribute, the number to call is 079 444 31366. Once again, 079 444 31366. Got to say a big request to our previous host, Ragga D, giving you exclusive natural high level mixing, also alongside the latest styles of reggae that you could hear. The only place to hear that is Ragga D live here on Bless Radio. Ragga D, can you let the listeners know what time's your show? What time's your show?
2 till 6 Thursday and Friday.
2 till 6 Thursday and Friday. So if you missed his vibes for today, do remember to tune in. You can tune in tomorrow. Ragga D live 2 till 6 Friday. He's gonna fry you with some hot level tunes live on Bless Radio. I'm alongside co-host Dougie here, and today I'm going to talk about optimizing your potential. How do you optimize your potential? Because what the first thing you need to do to optimize your potential, you have to know your operating system, just like you're operating your car when you're driving, or you're operating the washing machine, or you're operating for your salmon, operating the system. You have to know your operating system, how you operate to actually be able to move in the correct way or the high level. Firstly, what you have to realize is the difference between positive and negative, because basically if you don't know what is positive energy and what is negative energy, or if you haven't been told the science of it, how to maneuver, then when you feel a certain way, if you're not trained how to utilize the energy, then you are controlled by the energy rather than you controlling the energy. So the first thing that you are being taught in this society is that negative is something bad, it's something to avoid, it's something to stay away. Well, in this show, we're going to show you that it's actually the complete opposite, that negative is actually the energy that you need to move towards to activate your reality, to activate your higher nature. Actually, the negative impulse, the negative, so-called negative energy, is your spark of life. Right, I'm going to break that down to you. If you've got pen or paper, or if you're driving and you want to pull it, or you can turn up the radio to take it in. Firstly, I just want to break down the word negative to you, so you can actually see, and then what are the actual real definition of the word negative. Then I'm going to show you how you can use it in its most effective way to optimize your potential, and the advantage of moving towards the negative, which is is the exact opposite of what they tell you. Right, let's get the word negative now. The word negative is NEGATIVE. Once again, the word negative is NEGATIVE. I'll give it to the third time, because I know some of you might have just can't find a pen. I know what it's like when you're looking for a pen. The pen don't work, the pen break. Somebody just got the pen, or you have to do the style, when you have to use your key and write your key on a piece of paper and see the imprint. So once again, the word negative is NEGATIVE. Right. So now what I want you to do is write the word negative backwards, letter by letter, and I will break down what it says. Basically, the last letter of the word negative is E. When you put it at the front, E means something out, so emission, something that's coming out the car. Emit, when something's coming out. Evicted, when you get kicked out your yard. So every time you see the letter E, exit, it means to move out. Your ex is somebody you've left. Excite is when you're talking out. So every time you see the word X or E, it means something out. So okay, for the last letter of the word negative, we put it first. You got E, it means to move out. The next four letters of the word negative backwards is VITA. VITA. So VITA is vita. It means life. In Latin, it means life, like vitamins, vital. So basically, if you look at the word negative backwards, you'll see what's coming out is life and something vital. It means life. So inside the word negative backwards is life. Then the last three letters of the word negative backwards is G-E-N. G-E-N, like generation or to generate, is the Greek word to produce. So negative backwards means to produce life. That's what it actually means. It's the actual energy that produces life. It's the energy that takes you towards reality. I'm going to show you that in practicality in a minute. So once again, you've been told a lie that negative is bad. Stay away from negative. Avoid negative. Negative is your key to life. It's where you produce life. That's what negative means. It produces life. I'll explain that later. Right, look at the word positive now. The word positive, first I'm going to just break down what it is forward, then I'll show you it backward. Inside the word positive, you've got the word sit. Yeah, you've also got the word you've also got the word POS, which is like position, you know. So basically it's position, and tiv also means in action. So basically something that is positive is something is something, if you touch something positive, it's going to shock you, right? So we're going to take the word positive and turn it backwards. Once again, you got the word E, which means something out, emission, evolve, eviction, excite. So E means out. Then you've got the word VIT, which again means vit, means life. So what's coming out is life. But then you've got the word is backwards is. So what's coming out the life is. Then you've got op is the word opposite, opposition. So what comes out of the word positive is something that it opposes something. So basically, to break it down more, to simplify it, positive is when you hold on to something, you hold a position, you know, or you believe into something that's true. So you believe something, that's something you hold on to. Negative is something that you move towards. It means no gate, negate. Inside the word negative is the word gate. So gate means no gate. It means the gateway where you can go through to something. It's the gateway of movement. So, right, to break this down into actual practical. Basically, you might see a lady, or if it's a man, if you're a woman, that you're attracted to, and you believe this person likes you just by the attention that you're getting. So you believe the person like you, right? So what you have to do is like two hands on the steering wheel. You have to combine both the positive and the negative together to transform the action into a reality. So basically, if you're holding on the position that the girl likes you, and you hold on to it too tightly, you're not going to make a move, because you don't want to break that dream or that fantasy of you and the girl. So you're not even going to make a move, because you're holding on to the positive so tight you don't even want to let it go by even making a move in that direction. So you're holding on to it. The next thing is there could be a negative in relation to what you believe to be true. What you have to do to make any form of movement, you have to be prepared to take on the negative. You have to be prepared to say, boy, chat, I'm just gonna make a movement. I care what, you see. So what happens is when you move towards the negative now, you are gonna get a revelation. So what happens is you say, chat, I'm gonna make a move. You make a move to chat to the girl cuss you off, you know, like you're a piece of dirt, you know. And then what's gonna happen then? Because you move to, you're gonna get a revelation of what really is like. The girl don't like you at all, and maybe because you don't brush your teeth enough. So what's going to happen? You're going to get a reality. A reality is going to hit you, and your body now is going to bring you back down to earth. Your head was in the clouds because of the dream that you had, the belief you had that the girl liked you because she's looking at you, but actually was looking over your shoulder at your friend behind you. So when you move to the girl now, the girl just reject you like that. So you start crying, the tears come out your eyes. That negative experience is the revelation of the reality. So I'll break it down another way. If you have to think about something, that means you're not sure. That means you're not sure what move to make. The reason why you have to think about something is because you've probably been taught. It's something you've been taught about. Taught comes from the word tautology. Tautology means 5 different ways of doing the same thing. That's why you have to think about it. So basically, instead of just telling you one way to go to Brixton, you've been told 5 different ways to go to Brixton. So you have to think about which way you want to move. That's what tautology is. That's what a dictionary is. They give you 5 different words instead of just giving you the one word. So because you are thinking about something, it means you're not sure. It's because probably you've been taught something. You've been taught something, that's probably then it's a belief, because belief also is another word for not sure. Because if you're sure, you don't need to believe, because you've got the facts fixed. You got the facts, you got the evidence, and it relates to your senses. It's something that you can see, touch, feel, or hear. So a belief is another word for being not sure. So if you're sure of something, like if you're gonna pick up a donut from don't say donut, you're gonna eat some natural food, you just move your hand and pick it up, no thought required. If you're gonna brush your teeth, you brush your teeth, no thought required. If you're gonna kiss your partner, no thought required. If you're gonna dress your youth, no thought required. So basically, action doesn't require a thought. You just do it. So the minute you have to think about something, is because it's based on a belief. You're not sure. So to break this belief, to get to reality now, what you have to do to move towards it is basically, when you're thinking, it's not sure, so you're holding back. Because you're holding back because you've been trained that a negative experience is something to avoid. So you stay away from something because of the possibility of a negative experience. But what we've revealed today, that a negative is what you have to move towards. The minute you're prepared to take on the negative chart, I'm going to do it, whatever happens, then you get to the reality of what the situation really is. Because you could be thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, and the time when you thought it was right has passed, and now is not the right time to move. But because you're thinking, you're not making any moves. So the only time you usually make a move is when you don't care what the result's going to be. You just move to the negative and you accept what's going to happen. And then what happens is the negative is the revealing element to tell you the reality of the belief. It breaks the belief and it brings you to the reality. That is also what, like football or any kind of competition, it's when someone's done a lot of training, like in boxing, and now they believe they've got a certain amount of ability to win the championship. The only way to prove it is to go into the combat, to combat against opponent, and then the reality will be that it'll either be that, yes, what I held on to was right, and I am that person who's a champion, or then it'll be the negative experience, which is not a bad experience. It's going to reveal, boy, I need more training. You know, I went out there and I didn't really have the right recipe, because I've been spending all my time, you know, chasing gal instead of training in the morning. And so the negative is the revealing. The negative is actually what they talk about in the Bible. It's when you come to the crossroads and you cry what is. You see that you come to the crisis and you cry what really is. And then what happens is you get a revelation, and after the revelation there's life after death, because your belief has died, and then you get the life afterwards. That's why negative backwards means to generate life. So basically the belief dies, the reality comes in with the revelation, and then you get the life after the death of your belief. At the crossroads, you see you come to the crisis point, and you cry what is the real reality in the situation. And if you go back to the ancient Kemet teachings, the positive relates to something that you hold on, that's set, that's a setup, that's something that's fixed. And the negative is the Haru, but really that's your hero spirit that overcomes what is fixed. So basically every film is really showing you your Kemetic makeup and what you do, but because they show it to you so much, you don't realize it, and you come drunk on the knowledge that you don't realize. Every film, there's a hero trying to overcome the setup, what the villain has put in front. That's the actual, you're working how you actually work. You have to release your hero, which is the negative, which is the side that produces life, is where you're not prepared. Every hero is prepared to take on the challenge, is prepared sometimes to even face the death to get to the actual position that they want to get to. So basically you have to move towards the negative to reveal, to have a revelation of where you really stand in anything that you think or you believe in. A negative thing is what you have to move towards. So basically, once again, in the Kemetic principle, set is the fixed position, hero is your spirit that you use to overcome what is set. When you overcome the set, you know, you get an experience that reveals the truth. It could be so-called, no experience is bad, because once a reality is, the illusion's broken. So it's not a bad experience because the illusion's broken. You get a revelation to see what is really is. You get to the crossroads what the crisis point where you cry what is the revelation, and as in ancient Kemet, you get the answer to your belief system. And the answer inside the word answer is when you saw what was. So the situation was there already, but you didn't see it. So now you get the revelation of what really was, that the girl didn't like you in the first place. She always never liked you, but you didn't realize until you moved to the negative, and it revealed at the crisis point that you never brushed your teeth enough, and so she had somebody else. So the negative point is the revealing source, and your body's looking after you. So it's bringing you back down to earth with the tears and the frustration. It's taking your head out the clouds and grounding you back to reality. So it's a great thing that we start crying and shouting and screaming out loud. That's your body, because your body's not a negative, or it's not against you. It's bringing you back down to your reality to keep you grounded with the revelation. The girl never liked you, and you never brush your teeth enough. So basically, when you move to the negative, it reveals the reality. Then what happens? Then you get the answer of what she really was, or what she really was. Or if you was a boxer, then you get your answer that you really wasn't ready for this fight. And after the answer, it becomes your assets. The asset, now you have that as your knowledge, and that is what you can use next time around, that when you get in the situation, you'll be able to overcome the odds. All right, just like that. So I hope that's a basic insight. The next insight, your guiding voice. You also have a guiding tool. Mahat is your balance. So the balance to maneuver between something. If you hold on to something too strong, you're not going to move away from it. If you hold on to something negative, that means if you go into something without any preparation, you don't know what the outcomes, because you need a balance. The balance on the journey, really, you'll see it in your child, is that questioning voice. The journey that you're on. So the child is always asking the question. That questioning voice is the real voice that you need to be listening to, because that voice is always looking out for your interest. That's your guiding missile. That's your guidance. People talk about God. You have to listen to some guidance, and the guidance guiding you on your journey is the questioning. Quest means journey, that you're tired, or the eye is on. Look at the word question, you see the word eye on. So basically, your question is when you're keeping your eye on your journey. So when a child asks us a lot of questions, he's on the journey. You've got to let the child go on the journey, because to get the child wise, you have to, when he asks wise, the more wise, you only get wise by asking wise to get wise. So get wise to the wise. So when the child asks the why, let him go on his journey. And when you have a question, start to listen to that questioning voice. So that questioning voice is your guidance to get through the setup, so your hero can come to reveal a revelation of what is real. So I hope you that was some insightful information that you could use to maximize your potential. If you've got any questions to ask, the number is 079 and 444 31366. Once again, 079 444 31366. And I'm going to bring a co-host into the equation right here. Once again, started off this thing about telling you what negative is not really a bad thing. Negative is your gateway to reality. Once you decide that you're going to take on the negative experience, then you'll move towards it, and you'll put your belief to the test. So that is the force that you use. Also, a negative is your warning device, because then when you can sense somebody ain't quite right when they walk in the room, it's this negative that is the spark of life. It sparks you into life. You hear a bang at the door, the negative, but they've trained you to run away from your actual spark of life. And once again, it's revealed in the Bible that your belief dies a death, and then you get the life after death when the reality kicks in. When you get at the crisis point of the crossroad, you get the revelation. You cry what is, you can see the reality. You get a resurrection. Resurrection means you go back to surrection, you go back to being elevated to overcome. It becomes the answer. You get the answer, and the answer becomes your asset. Dougie, you like to come in the equation. Boom.
Yes, greetings, family. First, I want to give thanks and praise to the Most High. Give thanks to Bless Radio. We got the great man Jammaster just breaking down the whole thing, the words and the words of negativity, and words are power. See, and I was doing a workshop today, and one of the things I was saying to the brother that, you need to change the script, or the story you're using all the time on yourself. See, and instead of saying that, you don't feel confident, you don't feel, you feel worthless and so forth. Change the script. Say that I am confident, I am powerful, I am strong. Look in the mirror and say those things there. And you know that you can change the script over 30 days. If you say those things every single day, that goes straight to the subconscious. And that's why Jam was talking about the subconscious mind. Because the subconscious mind, you know what I mean, that's where it's at. You know, we've watched a horror movie, and something I say all the time, even though it's not real, you get frightened. See? That shows how vulnerable your mind is. Right? So, what I'm saying is that everything comes down to language we use, the words we use. See? So we get in the habit of just saying positive things to ourselves every single day. You know, you change the script, you change the narrative, you change the story of yourself. That's why words are power. Words are power. Words are very powerful. Yeah. So it's all about the language we use, and we need to break these words down, because Jerry is a mastermind when it comes to everything about words, and he's been doing this thing for a long time, and he's just trying to break things down and let us understand everything about words. But at the same time, we need to monitor the words we use and what words we say to ourselves as well. See? So I just bring it into the mix. So again, big up to the Jammaster show, and later on we'll have Kinsu will be phoning about 7 o'clock, and I'll be touching on your thing about mental health, and also the story we tell ourselves, you know, and go back to our childhood and so forth. Yeah, so he'll be touching in and so forth. Yes, Jammers, come in.
Yeah, I'd just like to endorse what you've just said there. Basically, what we have to understand, we have to start to understand how we operate. It's all right relating to like where you're born, you know, where your star sign, you know, your personality, so-called personality, you know, watching all these talk shows about behavior and body language. But you have to know, when you look in the mirror, your operating system, how you operate. One of the things you have to realize is that you operate differently from the people from the West, because of how your melanin and how your consciousness is designed in relation to a basic nature of your environment called the sun, because you are a product of your environment. So when your actual makeup comes from an environment of heat, even your consciousness works in a different way from someone who comes from a cold climate. So from a person who comes from heat and has a melanin makeup, which is just another form of energy, is working as a source vibration, works from the source. They absorb. So if you have melanin content, you're an absorber. You absorb, you take information in. You basically, your consciousness from a melanin point of view and a heat, you actually create, your consciousness actually makes everything that you're conscious of a reality. So if you watch a horror movie, your consciousness creates the horror movie inside of you. You know, if you watch violence, you have to create the violence in you to understand the violence that you're watching. You know, so this is the importance that we're actually got to be careful of what we are conscious of, because we create the consciousness of what we watch. It manifests in us.
Absolutely. What we're going to do, I'm going to just play just for a couple of minutes of this guy called brother called John Gray, and it kind of ties into some of the stuff what we're talking about, just for a few minutes.
They're right there connected to the source, and what keeps them from getting as much support as they need from their support is fear. You know, when there's fear and danger around a child, or unhappiness in the mother, that tends to weaken that relationship. But you know, mothers, you can't be happy all the time. You can't be real guilty about this thing. You just do your best. If you're in a relationship, men, this is just like when a woman's pregnant, you make sure you do everything you possibly can to make her happy. Even say, look, honey, we'll change the rules during pregnancy. That's what I do with my wife. I said, I'll wash all the dishes while you're pregnant, but then after that, we go back to me not washing dishes. She said, fine. But it was just, what could I do to make her life more comfortable? I kind of disapprove of the women who go work real hard during their pregnancies. You know, everybody's got their own personal journeys in this world, but if you're going to work hard, at least make sure you enjoy your work. Don't grind. Because if you grind, you teach this child that life is a struggle. You have to do it by yourself, when you don't have to do it by yourself. There's plenty of support out there. Okay, that's vitamin G. Now, from day 1 to 7 years old, that's a time when now you're working on filling up your tank, along with keeping your tank vitamin G open and filling it up. You're always working on your relationship with God. But now the next primary relationship a child has is between child and parent. Especially it tends to be with the mother, but very quickly it's the father. There's various theories about this, but little children generally will say "dada" before "mama," and so women don't take that personally. That's the case. And I remember my daughter said "dada." I mean, it was one of those happiest highlights of my life. She woke me up in the middle of the night and she's looking at me. She goes, "Dada, dada." I mean, just like I still see her eyes and just the joy in my heart. But she's relating to her parent, this parent who is happy with her. See, every little step, I did a good job. See, the parent looking at that, making that child feel happy. It's like my daughter, "See what I did, Daddy? I did a good job." It's like, "Yes, you did a good job. You are so sweet. You are so loving. You are so good. Was I good? I didn't make any noise at the table during dinner in the restaurant? Yes, you have such good table manners. You were so good." Over and over, thousands and thousands of times, you communicate the message to this child that they are good, that they are worthy, that it's okay to make mistakes. Whenever Lauren makes mistakes, I say, "Hey, everybody makes mistakes. Daddy makes mistakes. It's okay."
No, I played that clip in just a time to what Jam just said. That, I mean, I know the time what we're talking about. Because in the womb, right, in the mother's womb, that's where we use the word God is there, the Creator is there. And when we come out the womb, right, the baby is innocent, right, and what's happened now that it takes on the outside world. Know then, as John was saying, and what the recording is saying is that, I mean, it's very important from the womb to talk positive things, to say positive things, right? You know that the tennis player, the two twins there, what's the name again? Not the twins,
Williams.
The Williams, them, yeah, right. You know that the father, when the mother was pregnant, right, he used to talk to the mother, to the mother, and said that these gonna be some great tennis players, there, right? They're gonna be great, right? And the man was a fool. One of his mothers kind of got a bit off, yeah. So they've been programmed from the womb to be great. See, there's no magic to this thing here, There is no, hidden secret to this thing here, right? Everything starts with the mind, how we program our mind, right? There's no doctor in the world I know who can split your head open and program your mind, put it straight. You got to perform your own operation upon yourself. See? So everything comes down to what we say to ourselves. The script. Say it so. So we have to change the script. You are the star, the co-star, the director of your own movie, what you're putting out there. See? And this is what Jammers is bringing to the table out there. Yes, Jammers.
Yeah, just to endorse, basically, they have a thing that they call the DNA. In ancient Kemet, it's called Tahuti. Basically, your DNA is your script writer. So every move that you make, you have a recording device in you that records the move. So if you eat a donut at Brixton at 5 o'clock, you have a recording device called the DNA, but we call it the Hoochie that writes. So when 5 o'clock comes the next day on the same Friday, you'll find yourself picking up the donut. This means, as Dougie was saying, you are the actual script writer for your own journey in this experience you call life. Also, if you look at the word stand, if you look at the word stand, the last 3 letters of the word stand, if you say it backwards, you'll see the word DNA. So basically, your DNA also affects how you stand. Whether you're standing as the loser, or you're standing as the hero. So basically, every move that you make, you have a recording device that writes the script as you move. So basically, if you want to have a good experience, you better make sure that you're actually making the right moves and so that you can record the right moves. So basically, by your feeling, you can actually generate your experience, and you can you can take control of the experience that you get, that goes into your consciousness and is recorded in your DNA. So you, as Dougie was saying, you can be the director of your or enlightener of your own lifespan, Dougie.
Yeah. See, and as Les Brown says, for you to be successful, you have to be prepared to do the things today that others not prepared to do. So tomorrow you have the things that others won't have. See, so you have to program yourself. You have to condition yourself. You know, self-discipline is very important to pose on oneself. You know, because the system, as James is saying, they've got their own personal agenda, and their agenda is to make us docile. Right? TV programs included. It's called TV program, to program our mind. You know, it's quite funny when people come home and they turn the TV on. It's like they're on a life support, isn't it? They just watching the TV and go flick to the channel and all that stuff there. You know, and they're getting programmed. Yeah. So already we're conditioned. Right? When we get up in the morning time, you know, we're conditioned to, you know, to what? Simple things we have to do. Brush our teeth, wash our face, and then we have our breakfast. But let's question the breakfast we're having. You know, whop of carbs and so forth. Was causing the problem. You know, average man will probably, toast, a cup of tea, you know, breakfast with about 3 or 4 sugar, on it. But the point I'm trying to make here, that's how we program. We've been brainwashed a certain way of doing things. But as Dr. Africa said, if you're stupid and ignorant, there'll always be a business. And he went on and said, intelligence rules the world. Come through, Jammers.
Yeah, and basically as well, the first step to ever be in consciousness, which every species of animal on this world we call a planet does, which we don't do as supposedly the most superior animal on the planet. It knows what it puts in its mouth. There's no animal on the planet that poisons itself. You know.
Good point.
You know, even you know what to do when you go your car. You know whether to put diesel or petrol. You know the result of what happens there. You know what the result is if you buy a faulty car. You know what happens if you buy you buy food that's not, you know, that's gone off, or if you buy clothes that is not got a name brand that you know. You know, if you shut your mouth and you ask your partner, shut your eyes and you ask your partner to put something in your mouth, to see how fast you wouldn't put it in your mouth.
It's true.
You know, so the first hurdle to move into consciousness is knowing when you're putting poison in your mouth. You know? And it's even worse when you know you're putting poison in your mouth and you still do it.
Let me just ride in on that. It's quite interesting. Jam just made up observation, right? And it's very important, powerful observation that the other day I was in the we call the off-license or the shop, the sweet shop there, and it's strange because this guy, he asked for one of his lottery ticket or a scratch card, and I didn't know, but he asked for one of tobacco, one of roll up, right? But I didn't hear him though. By the way, I'm there, right? The man took £12 something off him. So I thought, alright, must spend about a couple of quid for the scratch card, and about 8-9 quid for the roll up, right? So I said to myself, it's quite expensive. But what is this the roll up though, Jammers, right? No, a packet of cigarette. It says that smoking kills. You know, it says that smoking kills. So I wonder if this man he can't read, or I'm a bit confused. You know what I mean? Big size smoking kills, right? So I asked myself, but I'm sure I've seen this sign before. But you see my point, though, right? The man is spending money. It's a smoking kill. I don't know who you are, but I'm just conscious that that Keith is gonna phone in very shortly. So, Jabs, you wanna respond to what I just said?
Yeah, what it is, because basically it's a chemical overrides emotion, or
Say that
emotional
again.
chemical overrides the thought process. So basically, you've got a chemical relationship now with the cigarette based on the reward that you get from the additives that's been put in it. So basically, your tongue is rewarding, and the reason why we're taking these things not for nutrition but for entertainment. It could be for comfort. You know, it could be for social aspects. Could be because you're depressed. You're not actually eating or consuming these substances for actual nourishment. It's through the actual other value. And then the next thing is basically you're feeding your tongue, not your stomach. And then you're getting reward. You're getting reward by the stimulation of the substances. So the toxins are coming in, but the reward of the stimulation makes you want to go back to the reward, and then that's why you end up in the hospital ward.
In the hospital ward. Absolutely. Okay, then. I think he's gonna come in very shortly. So
Terrible. I had awful holidays. Well, tell me about it. She says, well, after all this work I've done, all these letters I've written, I've been so loving, I called up my mother and she wouldn't even talk to me. And they didn't even want to see me on Christmas. And guess what happened? The same Christmas Eve, or the day before Christmas, my mother's sister, Aunt Thelma, calls. And she said, how am I doing? What am I doing? They even invited me to their house for Christmas dinner and for celebrating Christmas. And my own mother wouldn't even do it. I said, what did you do? She said, well, I didn't go. I said, oh. And you spent Christmas alone? She went, yeah. And she cried a little bit. And then she said, and then you know what else happened? Christmas morning, my own brother wouldn't let me come by to see my niece. And the same day, and get this, my goddaughter, her mother of my goddaughter, called me up and invited me over to spend Christmas morning with them. And my own brother wouldn't even do it. I said, well, did you go to your goddaughter? She went, no, I celebrated alone. And in my heart, I just had tears come to my eyes of fulfillment of her growth, even though she hadn't fully used it. And I said to her, can you see what's happened here? Is you've done all this work on healing with your brother who's rejected you and your family which has rejected you. And what God's giving you in replacement is your mother's sister who's welcoming you into their family. And here you have this goddaughter and the mother over there inviting you there. The love is there. And she burst into tears and she realized it. It was there. She just had to stop pushing it away because it wasn't coming from where she wanted it. And that was a huge healing for her, healing for me. It was the birth of all these theories. And the other side of it, at the same time, my wife was also going through this, where she was realizing that she was expecting all these things from me, and she had to realize one person couldn't give it to her. She would spend time with her women's support group, and they would be loving and supporting her, and the whole time she'd be saying inside, but why doesn't John do this? But John doesn't listen to me this way. But why can't I get it from John? Why can't he be like this? And she was pushing out their support with this, but I want it from John. And now she goes, I don't need it from John. I need to appreciate whatever John gives me. He's great. He's got his Martian things he does. That's enough. Let me get this Venusian stuff over here, you know. Let me enjoy it all. And so she let go of not only looking to everything from me, but she also let go of the expectation she put on herself that she should be getting everything from me. Because that's what we do. We expect our relationship should give it all to us. Otherwise, somehow our relationship is inadequate. And that's not true. So let's keep going through this biological evolution here. So now we're up to about age 13, and there's a shift again in our consciousness. What happens is we start pulling away at puberty. Little boys, little girls start pulling away from their parents, started pulling away from their siblings. And this can be really hard for their siblings and their parents when they're pulling away. And that child now wants to hang out with their friends. Peer pressure is a major thing. Can anybody relate to that during your teenage years? Peer pressure. It is your most important need. At that time, your parents' love is not what you need to be dealing with in therapy if a child's doing therapy at that time. They need to be dealing with what's going on with their friends, you know, of the same sex. They need to work on that relationship of the same sex. But of course, if vitamin F and P and G are deficient, they need support in those too. But the major thing we're learning at that time, the major thing we need during our adolescent years is hanging out, being with the same sex. Guys doing things with guys, being on teams, being in gangs, whatever it is. I couldn't get on the football team, so I had a motorcycle gang. I was the littlest kid in my class. I had this big motorcycle. It looked like it was my big brother's or something. And what I do is to really look like I'm tough and mean, I wore this Nazi helmet with a black wig on, and I painted a mustache and sideburns on my face. And I thought I was so tough. And I pull up to these girlfriends' houses, whatever, and the parents would say, is he a girl? I mean, is she a girl or a boy? What is it? Who is he? Or whatever. And it was like, it was so deflating to my ego. You know, just like I thought I was so big and tough and everything. But it was part of me being with guys and doing guy things. And it's important to support your children in being with members of the same sex. It's not wrong to be with members of the opposite sex either at that time, because it's a big attraction. But the main lessons we have to learn is being and doing with the same sex. Okay? As from my perspective, having too much sex or having sex with the opposite sex can sometimes push you further along on the thing. And that too much sex in those early adolescent years can cause insecurity because you're really not yet capable of loving another human being. You know, a little girl opening herself up to some guy, afterwards he's just shut down and wants to go off and be with the guys again. How does that leave her feeling? You know, her self-esteem crashes because she's having sex with somebody before she's capable of fully loving herself. She's still dependent on this other person. I mean, sex becomes fantastic once you've learned to love yourself. But, you know, as we're growing, we are developing gradually our self-love. But during the adolescent years, same-sex relationships are very, very important to heal us. And whatever we're missing during that age, we need to make up for it later in life. Okay. Then we move into the 21 to 28 stage, and that is our period of
Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings, yes. Yes, man, I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah, man, give thanks, man.
Well, I'm live, yeah. I can hear the echoing.
You can echo. Have you got the hang on. Yeah, I can hear echo as well. You still hear the echo?
It's all right. There's a little echo there.
No, there is an echo.
Yeah, there is echo.
I don't know where the echo's coming from. Hold on a second. You alright there?
Yeah. Still there, but you know.
Hold on. Speak. Say hello.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hearing the echo.
So we're in the echo.
It's there. Yeah.
Okay, we have to just back up.
It's kind of faint, but it's there.
Okay then. All right. Well, first we want to salute you kids who come at your busy schedule to join us online. I know I don't know which part of your day. You're all over the country, man. You know, of these days. You know, but we have to bring you in because when it comes to looking at things like mental health and looking at things like the stuff we owed on from childhood, right? To me, you're the number one out there right now who's broken this down to us and explained it in so much in-depth detail. You're the one who really made me understand certain things, what we hold on to or where we behave is due to love, to our relationship we have with our parents, etc. And that's something I was aware of before, but you made it even more crystal clear now. But I just want to bit more focusing here now because right now my mission now, one of my mission really is to talk about mental health for probably the next 3 or 4 months. See?
Okay.
Yeah. Right, and do workshops around that particular area there because I feel that we need to tackle this issue here, right? Because we've got mental health, right? Like we have mental health, we have spiritual health, you have physical health, but mental illness is a different argument, no. You know, bipolar is a different argument that because, yes, some is a story we tell ourselves from childhood, some chemical change, hormones and all them things that what you probably could break down even more, you know. But at the same time, it's something we need to talk about. See, because as men don't talk to us, right? Women will talk to us. Women will come together and with them girlfriend and them chat and them this and that. When it comes to men don't talk about certain what's hurting them. You know what I mean? Yeah. See?
Well, men don't. Yeah, we always say that men don't talk about the sexual reproductive organs, you know, the problems like prostate or health anyway. Generally. Yeah. And we say that the women, they're more open to discuss those issues and concerns.
See.
Yeah. However, I will say when it comes to the deeper level of things being of what's controlling us now, our past controlling us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think both male and female are equal in the ignorance.
Right.
You understand? Because I think women, from my own experience as well, they're not. I don't see them any more readily open to discuss that than men. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm.
I'm not talking about the health issues. Yeah. Although it's all health.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that this. I mean, because the area of discussion right now is that, you know, is the most sensitive issue right now. And what it comes down to, when you say mental health, what it comes down to, you know, is the bottom line is acceptance.
All right.
Acceptance. The people have to accept who they are and identify with who they are, you know. And I think for the most part, we know, we as black people especially, have had an identity problem.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Had an identity problem. You know, you would have said black, knowing that we're African roots and our Caribbean roots.
Yeah.
We've had that issue from creation, let's say.
Yes.
We're growing up. But there's more to it. You see what I'm saying? There's more to it. Because what we're identifying with, what would I say? All that we're identifying with is smaller than what we really are. You know, it's smaller than what we are. So, yeah, I'm just saying that to say, well, identity and acceptance. You know, when you accept where you are right now, yeah, only then you can really change things. You see what I'm saying? Are you hearing me? Am I being heard?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a large area. Acceptance.
So, let me ask a question. When you say acceptance, what do you mean by acceptance, though? Because people are not quite...
Yeah, let me go and explain.
Yeah.
So, when you say acceptance, all right. We coming up, we at one stage, we learned that we were original man. Some of us learned that we're black man before white man and so forth. And we're from Africa. We did great things. And, you know what I'm saying? And our health, and we learn about holistic health and all these things we're learning as we, and as we're going through, we accept that we didn't know. You get what I'm saying? In order to learn something, you have to accept that you didn't know.
You didn't know. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So
right.
As you're moving, you say, I didn't know that I was original man. Okay. Now I know that I'm going to accept that.
Accept that.
And that's what I say. And then when you do that, you identify with that.
Yes.
This is the thing. Identity is the thing, but you got to work it. So when you identify with that, then you do all the things behind that. And if I come up behind you and say, "Cha, I'm African at this," you're gonna ready to fight me now, African now. No, I'm just trying to show the point because you identify with it. Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just trying to show the level of identity.
Yes.
So if you say, well, yeah, Jamaica, I mean, we grew up as believing, let me say, we are Jamaicans, yeah? And we will argue against other islands, innit? Against small islands, blah, 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 and defend that. You see how identity works? Yeah. Because we identify with Jamaica.
Jamaica, yes.
So we will fight for Jamaica. Yeah? You understand? So the only way we're going to do that is by acceptance. So why I'm saying that is that we got to accept where we are right now in order to fight for the change. Because some of us don't even think we need the change from where we are. Yeah, I mean, we haven't even gone into that to where we are. The reason why I didn't, because we've gone into many times on the show we've discussed, but at the end of the day, I don't know how much time we've got, Dougie, but it's a long discussion when you start going into the past,
Yeah.
But we have to just admit, in a nutshell, if we're going to say that we as black people have been kidnapped, enslaved, and displaced, and so forth. One thing we know is that the whole family structure has been displaced.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's all been displaced. So when it's all being displaced, so the parenting is being displaced. You see what I'm saying? The parenting, the child grooming has definitely been displaced. Many people have said this. Not to the point though. the issue is, I'm going to hit it straight on their head right now, is that the reason why we don't look at this area, or it's easy to redirect away from this area, is because we have to look at ourselves deeply, and we have to look at our own pain. Yeah. Now I have some articles coming out soon, and one of them is entitled "Pain is the Equalizing Harmonizer." You see, because it's I know, I think we've been here before, but when I mention this, like, pain is not something to say it's bad. It's not bad, but the way we look at it, you know, it's our perception that takes us that way.
Okay, then that's quite powerful. You said that our perception.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's not that it's bad. It can be seen as good or bad.
Yeah.
You know, it can be seen as good or bad. You know, so I say it's the equalizing, it's harmonizer. So some of the things we went through as youngsters, the pain of it caused us to shut down. You know, caused us to shut down. So and the real godly divine being has kind of closed off. He's gone into hiding.
So what? So give an example. Would it be like, for example, that like you've been abused when you was young? Would that ever?
But when you say abuse, what do you mean by abuse?
Okay then.
Give an example. Just an example of abuse.
Abuse for physically and probably mentally abused.
Like what? Beating, punch, kick, belt, what? Curtain rod.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, let's cover that. Like, yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Well, listen. What you're talking about is the average black people's household.
See.
Yeah. For real, innit? Belt, curtain rod, shoe, broomstick, whatever night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Box you down.
Yeah.
You know, so that's abuse. Are we saying that's abuse? Are we agreeing on that?
Yeah.
Because some of us don't want to agree on it. You see,
well, I mean, some say it comes down to what you're saying now. Is your perception on that again? Yeah.
Okay. I would say this for a minute.
Yeah.
Nature has certain ways that the child, a human being, is supposed to be groomed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if that's so for me, abuse, and this is that clean cut, because abuse would be anything that goes against that.
Okay.
Anything that goes against nature's way. Do you see what I'm saying? Of grooming the child would be abuse. That could be as little bit as just not seeing the child for a month or whatever.
Okay then.
It could be. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Or not paying attention to that child. Or that could be abuse. Oh yeah, neglect and all that stuff.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Neglect is abuse.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I would say like this: is abuse we often think is things that happen, like you said, things that happen that weren't supposed to happen, right? But then abuse could also be that things that were supposed to happen did not happen. But anyway, you mentioned mental health, and I didn't want to. I think we strayed quite away.
Yeah.
Although it's all mental health.
Yeah.
But the point I wanted to get to is, you see, all of this is definitely mental health, and the circuits, the brain circuits, we start to create when the child goes into hiding. It starts to create certain type of circuits. You know what I'm saying? Like brain cells, you're making certain type of brain cells, and the person starts to think a certain way. It's like a record. The example has been given of a record. You know, like the old vinyl.
Yeah.
When it's going around, the needles on it now, and you're playing it now. Yeah, and that's a groove in there, and it's creating a message, isn't it?
That's right.
That's like a circuit.
That's
now,
right.
It can start off if you could it could start off as something you just do once, but then if you do it again and again and again, it becomes a habit, and then it's etched into you. You know what I mean? It's like the groove. So you create those things in our brain, and that goes on. That can lead to it just weakening the mentality. When you say mental health, it could be the nutrition can contribute to it, but the stress that children are going through, you know, when you're looking at me and you're seeing today gun and knife crime and all of this stuff here, It's anger. It's rage. It's inner rage now that obviously goes into mental breakdown. It either goes one way or the other. You know, it's either going to break down someone or it's going to break down itself.
Right. But let me just jump in there, Dr. Kinso, because you made a point, and I want to ride on that point when you talk about young people going to rage. And would you say that one of the contributor factors that, I mean, neglect from their father, in most cases, would you say that that's the reason why there's some kind of rage, anger?
A lot of it, yeah.
Okay.
And you see, you know, and I'm not gonna be very popular for when I'm saying these things, but you know, the truth just has to be said. At the end of the day, a lot of us parents, my age group and around my age group, yeah, and your age group maybe as well, yeah. Now, not even maybe, all of these age groups here, we don't want to look at our own selves as parents, which we never had the ability. We never had it because it wasn't passed on because we were abused. But people don't, and I'm not saying this is not to go and hate no parents and fight no. This is to understand who we are, and acceptance gives you the power to move and identify with something else. You see what I'm saying? So it's just we look because we keep looking for the solution. And we see this man and a white man and a that man and all this man and a school teacher and a this the teacher. It's the household is the predominant factor.
See.
The household and the parenting, and when well, we don't understand because we didn't get it. And I'm not knocking anybody because I myself, you understand?
Yeah.
It's a part of this, but we didn't get it. We didn't get the true and proper nurturing, so we can't identify with true and proper nurturing. And I'm not saying everybody, because you're gonna have one man jump out of the woods and say, you know, well, me different. There's always an exception, but we're talking about generally when you're looking out there in the black community. We're talking. It's in all communities.
Yeah.
It's in all people. We're talking about the black community here, because it is. Anyway, I don't want to go further, but the black community. So, we have. It's like a taboo to be discussing these things. You can't. And listen. And it's not, I have to keep saying, it's not about disrespecting parents or elders or anybody. It's about seeing things for what they are. And the only way you're going to have clarity in life, to walk straight in life and to understand what these things are around you, such as politics, religions, education and food and all of that, the only way you're going to be able to see them properly, if you see life properly. You understand?
Yeah.
And you're only going to see life properly if you understand what happened in your life.
Yeah.
You got to understand everything around you right now, Dougie, the projection of you.
Yeah.
You manifested this moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So we got to understand that what we're manifesting our word. So life, we got to look back in our own life. And it's not to say stay back there and walla walla in childhood. We're saying to understand and accept us, because some people do have an indication of what happened, but they don't accept it. So, you know, discussions like this is brushed aside or thrown aside in our community.
But you see, I just want to jump in there and run on what you're saying, because again, we don't talk truthfully and acceptance, and at the same time take responsibility, because we tend to blame everybody else. We blame the system. We blame the white man. We blame the school teacher. We blame religion. We have to look at ourselves and also what are we doing, because obviously, right?
Yeah, man, but only when we see the pain.
Yeah. When
we see the pain inside, then we'll know that, like, wow, this has to create a whole dynamic. When you understand the very little way you bend down, tie your shoelace and cook your egg and all them things I'm on in, anything you do goes back to your grooming and conditioning. Yeah? Up to the way you judge that person over there, or the way you react aggressively to that person yesterday, or that girlfriend, or you get what I'm saying, or that boyfriend, or the type of man you like, or the type of woman is all related to your childhood. Do you understand? And but yet still we're arguing and saying it's his fault, and wicked and evil and this and that and this. But you're there with him, or you're there with her. You was attracted strongly. So and the blame has to disperse, because how comes I attracted you? How come you're so bad, but I attracted you, and I'm so tied up in with you for years, and then now you're so bad and wicked and evil. but I'm so clean and squeaky. You see, come on. And but yet still man and woman come together as one. Come on, it's called the human magnet syndrome. The human magnet syndrome, that we don't attract what we want. This is a big message for everybody to get.
We don't attract what we want.
Listen, this is another article of mine. Yes, sorry. The full title is, you do not attract what you want in life. You attract what you are.
Attract what you are.
You see that? And people, that's the one to digest and sleep with. Because you do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. So whatever you are in your inner core, I'm not talking about the artificial shell that we carry around. That shell is not it. So when we look and we say, how comes the girl or the man or whatever switch like that? It's not that it's so much switch like that. Is that on the surface it was matching your surface, but maybe at the core it's matching your core. Maybe. You see what I'm saying? But it's the blame. The blame is it's a very old and weak game now. You know, we got to move away from that. You know, there's no one outside of us to blame. There's no culture, no system. I know I'm going to be very unpopular, but here we go.
No. But you got to be truthful and speak the truth. You know what I mean? And the only way we can move forward, let's we be truthful to ourselves.
Trust me.
Yeah.
And a lot comes from that. You see, a lot comes from that. From your position of truth, it all blossoms there. You see, and that's again another point why it's not happening for us in the communities. You see, I'm not saying nothing's happening before, you know, it's misconstrued, but things happening for us. You know, we make production here and there, but we still complain and seeing the destruction of the youth. Yeah, is because we're not coming from that place of truth. The youth are not going to. The youth don't listen to what your words. They don't listen to what you say.
Yeah.
They look at you and what you do, every little footstep you make.
Yeah.
It's not what you say, it's what you do. So the children are seeing and say, oh, come on, what's this man telling us, or this woman telling us out of one mouth, and then down the back there, she's not authentic. He's not authentic. You see what I'm saying? My dad, my mum, they know it. They don't, you know, we don't want to, it's not about this or disowning, but we know deep down that a lot of adults are not authentic. You get me? They're not true. They're not, and it's not because they're deceivers. People got to understand what we're saying here. It's not because they're out and out deceivers. It's because they haven't accepted their own life.
Okay, then.
Their pain.
Okay, then.
You understand? They haven't accepted themselves.
Yeah.
So if you don't accept yourself, then you're gonna be. I know it's rubber. You're a fraud, basically. No, I know it sounds funny, but you know, I'm not excluding myself. You know, I'm not excluding myself because you know, it's only for levels of inauthenticity when one is hiding behind pain and shame, and when you don't know and you don't understand, and you're reacting in relationships. I mean, we could go into relationships. It's like when you start seeing in the black, it will start to make sense because the level of baby mother, baby father syndrome, when you understand the human magnet syndrome, it just makes everything's clear. Everything's clear, you see. But some of us we don't know. We're looking in the wrong place.
So let me 'cause I know you've done a lot of work. I know you've written a book in this particular area in terms of looking at what's the book. Mention the book. What's the book?
Well, the book on this side ain't ready as such yet. You know, I'm just holding back. I'm gonna put out some articles. Yeah, I'm gonna soon put out some articles on this subject. You know.
Okay then.
Starting very shortly.
So what's your book title? What's your book? Sorry, what's your book?
Go on.
What's your book? It's gonna be cool. What's the title of your book?
The book on the new book, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've had some. You know, I don't want to review that right now.
Oh, you don't. Sorry, beg your pardon. You don't want to review it right now.
I'm not sure. No, because I'm not 100% sure yet. So, you know, to be honest, at one stage it was going to be called "You Don't Get What You Want in Life, You Get What You Are." You see, at one stage, but there's been some other development stuff. But
Right.
you know, it's very poignant. And at the end of the day, you know, I'm sharing my own stories, my own truth, you know, for it to be understood, and it's not coming from an attack, an offensive mode, but you know, truth has to be told, and that's all I can tell you. That's what I can speak is the truth. So I can speak, you know what I mean? You know, and that to me is holistic. That's truly holistic health. That's truly holistic health. You know, because health starts from the childhood. They've got the studies now called the adverse childhood experiences. Yeah, I believe we mentioned before. But they've done 1,700. Well, they had 1,700 people they've studied, participants, and they're realizing that most, and this is the thing, Dougie, because most of the adult diseases that we speak about often, cancer and all that, and even as we mentioned, the mental health, they all go back to childhood.
Everything about childhood, yeah.
You see, so this is the thing, you know, if you're stressed for too long, then that can lead to things like fibromyalgia, arthritis, you know, HTLV1. They got all these names for the different nervous, you know, disorders. You know, and that's what's happening to a lot of us. You know, but we're not trying to blame the parents because the parents it's the multi-generational curse. It's coming through the lineage like that, but the only way it's going to stop is by truth. We've got to look it in the face.
But I just want to just to push the boat out a little bit here in terms of when I shall put this now, right? All right, people hold on to stuff, right? For example, people hold on to resentment, or you know, they've been through a bad relationship and they still hold that kind of grudge and resentment and so forth, right? How I look at things now, that you can't hold on to these things, it's for you to let go and forgive. It's about it's like, you know, like, I mean, I'll never forget, someone said to me, "Why do you want to hold on to a bag of shopping? You know, hold on to it, you feel the strain in your arms, your neck, everything. Let go of the damn thing." Right? So what I'm saying is that, I mean, we hold it. So I just want to get a position. Is it important for us to let go and forgive, you know, in terms of freeing up ourselves?
Sure. You know, but then, it comes with understanding.
Right.
You don't understand this, and that. See, the reason why we blame, and we're caught up on that point, because we don't understand what's behind it.
Okay then.
You know what I mean? We don't understand. You know what I'm saying? So we blame the person, think that the person is just evil and is just wicked and is their fault and I'm better than them, because we can't see. We're in a trance.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a book called The Trances People Live. The trances people live. You know, and in there they go into it. So we're in a trance. It's like when a person's an alcoholic or a drug dealer or a cigarette smoker, and then all of a sudden one day they just stop. Yeah? They block out the trance. They block out the trance. You see what I'm saying? So we're in a trance. A lot of us come up in a trance because of the adverse or rigid parenting. So, yes, to let go, you have to understand. It's like this. If a couple break up, like what you're saying there now. It's like, all right, the man blames the woman blames the man. Then the man decides to, hold on, you know what? Let me just look at myself. Am I at fault here? Yeah? Or one of them decides, yeah. Let me look at myself. Am I really at fault here? And they start looking, and they realize, hold on, you know, they bump into some information that opens them up to the fact that some of the symptoms lead back to childhood adversity. Right. You know, and then they go and then they start looking at the study and they realize that, whoa, they were traumatized for real.
Yeah.
you know, and then, you know, that gives them the strength now to kind of like, you know, accept the other person for what they are, you know, and humble themselves and accept the other person for what they are, you know, and really accept everybody for what they are. It's, you know, when we judge, the judging, you see, the reason why we judge everybody, that's why I say every single trait, you know, every single trait. Yeah, I've got all answers. All my answers are, I don't say all the answers, but a world of answers I've gained through going back in this journey. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I was going to say something. What was I going to say there? The partner, yeah, the partner now learns about the other partner and forgives, yeah, and realize, yeah, and with everybody you can kind of accept them for who they are, because the judgment thing, we judge people, it's because of we're frightened, you know. I know that sounds crazy. But it's fear, yeah.
But you're coming some serious information out there, Rasta boy. I don't know. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, because listen, it's the reason why we're frightened of other human beings. People are gonna say I'm crazy, but I can explain. Listen, it's like when you shy. I think when we're shy as a child, they say, you know, the child is shy.
Yeah.
Shyness is really that same closing the soul. Is closing off from the world. The being is withdrawing from the world a little bit, you know, quite enough. But not enough to say, and this takes back to the study, because not enough to say is mentally, what they call it, what they call that one, I got a diagnosis for that. But not to say that he's mentally withdrawn or anything, yeah? Not to say that, bipolar, yeah? Not to say bipolar, but the shyness is a mental condition. Stuttering is a mental condition. Asthma is a mental. These are childhood things. But what I'm saying, the point I want to make before I lose it is that shy. When you're saying you're shy, you're actually saying that I'm frightened of people. You understand? I see people as danger. Think about it. You just lock off and close off, and you can't interact with them properly.
Yeah.
Right. So you know you're seeing people as danger. So that is a level of a mental condition. You see what I'm saying? So later on, that develops. You have to judge a person. If I see someone over there, I say, listen, boy, before they even come close, I already put them in a box. Like, oh, that person is so-and-so, they come from so-and-so, and they earn so-and-so, or they do so-and-so, and they used to go so-and-so, and that, you know, they messed up down there, they got kicked out of there, or they failed this, or, yeah? Something. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're going to put them in a box.
Already, yeah.
You put them in a box, that's a judging. You're putting them in a box because we're frightened. It's fear. It's the same fear. You put them in a box to keep them in a box so they don't infringe on you. It's fear. It's fear, my brother. It's fear. All is fear. You know, it's just now. Again, to go further, to eradicate the fear, you got to open up and relax. But it's to understand it, what it is, and open up and relax. Because there's nothing to be fearful of, but when we're stuck in the old drama. You see what I'm saying? We're stuck in the old drama. You get what I'm saying? The
drama is it a story you tell yourself?
No, we're not. Well, it is and it isn't, but the events did happen. It is and it isn't. Because, yes, the abuse that we've mentioned, it took place.
Right.
But the reason why you're right, because it ended. But we're still, the stress, the thoughts, the reactions are still going on inside of us.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it did happen. That's the thing. The stress reaction is not turned off. So it goes on. That's the rage inside. So a man probably just licking down quick. And then your partner and his and you have to drink and smoke to tame it, to cool down the fire. You understand? Yeah, and shopping and money and cars and girls and dancing and clubs. You have to do all of these are done to cool down the rage and to satisfy the dissatisfactions of childhood. Because we haven't turned on the life in the body. The body has a natural life, but we can't get turned off because of the stress and the fear. And we put on, you know, the fear basically. We put on the fear and we're using these other things You're using the car and the girls and the money and the this and the that and the that as a distraction from the pain. Distraction from the pain. That's why everybody talks about the bling bling. You know, all of this stuff. See, all of this stuff, Dougie, all on the news everywhere, all the celebrities and the media. Most of it goes back to childhood deficiencies. Most, I could say near enough all of it.
Right.
People are trying to be something in Hollywood or wherever, or on stage or wherever, because they wasn't allowed to be that when they were young.
See.
They never got the attention then. Let me just say it that way.
So, all right then. No, you put things in perspective. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying now, because they never really got their attention. Yeah.
So we crave it, and we crave it.
But would you say that we crave for love?
Definitely. That's the key. But to me now, my understanding of love is just life now. I get it. I understand it and that's all through meditation. Then vibes are coming to me as well. Because life, but there's different frequencies in life. But it's just all life. If I come and hold your hand and shake your hand right now, you're gonna feel life, when you might translate it as love. Yeah. It's a life, but I'm making sure I project that life onto you. Yeah. Whereas another person who's withdrawn and shy, or so forth, when you shake their hand, it's all limp and they're not transferring. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Very little life. Because we control that by our thoughts and our actions. We're controlling how the life moves through us. It's Africa, it's in us, we're alive, but how it moves through us, we're controlling that by our reaction. So life is love is life. You know? Come on.
Yeah. Okay then. All right. Well, listen, Kinsu.
Yes, sir.
Boy, again, you kind of whet our appetite, brethren. You know what I mean?
Is Jammo's there?
Huh?
Jammo's not there, is he?
No, Jammo's not there now. He might make a slight exit still,
Okay.
you know?
Okay, I thought I would have heard him by now.
Yeah, might slide out because, I'm there on some to running still, right? But you've kind of whet appetite with some serious reason. That's why I refer bring you in, because when it comes to this particular field area, I know you've done a lot of research. That's why we have to bring in the experts, man like you, for coming upon us. See?
Well, it's a student still, but truth. It's just truth. It's not hard. We all got it inside of us. It's just to open up to truth, and it just open up to truth. You know what I mean?
See.
Open up to truth. So the event, you've been plugging the event. Is it?
Yeah, the event's on the 23rd of March. Yeah.
Yes.
23rd of March.
Okay.
So right now we're gonna start pushing, definitely from now. Yeah, start pushing out and thing. See?
Yeah, man. So like I said, I'm setting up. Well, I don't want to, another website, right, to do with more writing, holistic instructions. Because I want to, like I said, I'm going to be writing a lot about these subjects, and eventually a YouTube channel and so forth, and a book, and it's non-stop. It's just we're just going to keep it flowing, however we can, because this truth has to be, conveyed.
All right then. Okay.
All right. So let me just. Anybody website? Let me just get my details.
Give your website and the details, bro.
Yeah, and it's Melanin Clinic, MELANINCLINIC, melaninclinic.com. We didn't talk about the book so much, but Spirit Oasis is there available. Root cause to all modern disease. That's the beginning of this discussion. And then the phone number is 07983 678 199. Yeah, 07983 678 199. All right, Dougie.
All right,
yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, give thanks again. Yeah.
All right, blessings.
All right, cool. Give thanks, kids. Just a couple people try for ringing for me now. All right.
Yeah, man. All right. Good. Cool.
Now, in our society, we generally think that we achieve maturity at 21 because our body is now mature. Okay, but that's not the case. Our body matures, but our emotions don't mature. Generally, what you can find is around 28, you go through a stage for many people of an emotional maturity. Lots of people go through very dramatic changes in their life around 28. It's a time where you say, you know, I'm not going to live my life for anybody else. I'm going to live it by me from now on. Can anybody relate to some of those changes? Maybe around 27, 28, 29, somewhere around there. But of course, there was the physical maturity around 21 where you sort of got to the height and the body build that you're going to have for the rest of your life. And around 13 is another major turning point, is where you start becoming aware of your sexual differences. Kind of like a sexual maturity begins at that point. It's like all of a sudden, hey, I'm a guy and you're a girl, and there's these differences. And before that, around 7 years old, in psychology, we observe a real important turning point with the child development, is where a child starts turning away from the parents and socialize and becomes more a social being, relating to itself, relating to others. And of course, in the first 7 years, they say that's when we have our most formative time. That's when we've got all our programs at that time, where we learn about ourselves. And the way I see it is in that first 7 years is where we get a picture of ourselves as far as how much we deserve. Okay, the worthiness. The way your parents treat you at that time and what you see, the way they treat you, teaches you about what you're worthy of. This is why this healing the inner child technique is so important, that we connect with that child, the feelings of that child, the pictures that we have of ourselves and the world at that time, and heal that, and create positive pictures. So, in a sense, all these different tanks that I just talked about, they actually develop as we mature. The first tank that we need filled is when we're in the womb and around birth. And that is vitamin G. That's the whole period while we're in the womb. Is our major relationship is a relationship with God or higher power. And what that means is if you look at really what's going on to the baby in the womb, everything's being done for you. Everything is done for you. Your body is being built. Do you have to do anything? No, you just sit there and watch the whole thing and play with your fingers, whatever, and you look around. It's all this fun thing happens. Okay. Now, this is where we're at that time where we're developing a relationship with God. This is when it's most important for the mother to be happy. Because if the mother is not happy during pregnancy, then the mother is afraid. You know, basically, there's fear of happiness. If she's upset about what could happen here, what's going to happen here, she's afraid. That fear goes into the child, and the child starts to get the message that it's not safe. And the more the child gets the message that it's not safe, the less vitamin G it's getting. Because the whole sense is that, you know, you come into this world, God protects us, God takes care of us, everything is done for us. And that needs to be our first experience. Then what happens around delivery time is that we give mom drugs, and like mom's gone. And how's this going to happen? Okay, it's like, where'd mom go? Where's my support? Where's all this support? It disappears. And especially if the doctor's afraid, it's a medical emergency, we get this message, the world is not a safe place. I have to do it myself. And there's this whole process of birthing. There's no way a baby can do it itself. It's the contractions that do it. The contractions move you out. Okay? And some of us in birth, we're feeling, oh, I've got to do it myself. So one of the things you can do when you're birthing is you can say to the baby, it's okay. Everything's happening the way it's supposed to be happening. You don't have to do anything. Just relax. It's going to happen. You've got to reassure the mother, which is the labor coach. You're supposed to be, it's okay, we're halfway through the contraction. We're almost through. And then the delivery coming out. Much of our relationship with God is around, you can see sort of the elements of your relationship with God when you go into studying your birth, which is not the point of this talk, but there's many books about that, The Secret Life of the Unborn Child. There's a whole different school of thought which is about rebirthing, which helps people go into their early feelings of birth and seeing how that affects their life. To me, it all reflects how much vitamin G you have or what deficiencies you have. And regardless of what your birth is, if it was more of a traumatic birth, that's a sign that in your life you have to work harder to develop vitamin G. Some people with very peaceful births, easy delivers, they always know God's there. They know the universe works. They know their life's going to turn out okay. Others, they don't. And that means you need to work on vitamin G. Okay, that's the first relationship. If you look at children, why are they so incredibly beautiful? Because they're so connected to their source. They're so spiritual. They've got a glitter in their eye. They don't know anything about religion or philosophy or any of that, but they are religion and philosophy. They are spirituality. They're radiating it. They're right there connected to the source. And what keeps them from getting as much support as they need from their support is fear. You know, when there's fear and danger around a child or unhappiness in the mother, that tends to weaken that relationship. But, you know, mothers, you can't be happy all the time. You can't be real guilty about this thing. You just do your best. If you're in a relationship, men, this is just like when a woman's pregnant, you make sure you do everything you possibly can to make her happy. Even say, look, honey, we'll change the rules during pregnancy. That's what I do with my wife. I said, I'll wash all the dishes while you're pregnant, but then after that we go back to me not washing dishes. She said, fine. But it was just, what could I do to make her life more comfortable? I kind of disapprove of the women who go work real hard during their pregnancies. You know, everybody's got their own personal journeys in this world, but if you're going to work hard, at least make sure you enjoy your work. Don't grind. Because if you grind, you teach this child that life is a struggle. You have to do it by yourself when you don't have to do it by yourself. There's plenty of support out there. Okay, that's vitamin G. Now, from day 1 to 7 years old, that's a time when now you're working on filling up your tank, along with keeping your tank vitamin G open and filling it up. You're always working on your relationship with God, but now the next primary relationship a child has is between child and parent. Especially it tends to be with the mother, but very quickly it's the father. There's various theories about this, but little children generally will say Dada before Mama, and so women don't take that personally. That's, you know, the case. And I remember my daughter said Dada. I mean, it was one of those happiest highlights of my life. She woke me up in the middle of the night, and she's looking at me. She goes, Dada, Dada. I mean, just like I still see her eyes and just the joy in my heart. You know, she's relating to her parent, this parent who is happy with her. See, every little step, I did a good job. See, the parent looking at that, making that child feel happy. It's like my daughter, see what I did, Daddy? I did a good job. It's like, yes, you did a good job. You are so sweet. You are so loving. You are so good. You know, was I good? I didn't make any noise at the table during dinner in the restaurant? Yes, you have such good table manners. You were so good. Over and over, thousands and thousands of times, you communicate the message to this child that they are good, that they are worthy, that it's okay to make mistakes. Whenever Lauren makes mistakes, I say, hey, everybody makes mistakes. Daddy makes mistakes. It's okay. And you always deserve to be forgiven for making mistakes. So what will happen is sometimes, and you don't have to be perfect. There's another one she knows. I remember one time she was all really upset and fussy, and I was sort of reaching my limit. She looks at me and goes, Daddy, I'm just a little girl. You're the daddy. You're supposed to know how to handle me. And I tell you, in that moment, it's like God's power came in and I could handle her, you know? But, you know, you watch how many times when parents get frustrated with their kids, they look at their kids like, you should be better, you should do this, you know? The parent is the one who should have it handled, not the child. The child needs the parent's strength at that time. And sometimes she's she's got all this stuff down, and she'll do something wrong. She says, so I made a mistake, Daddy, right? This is a mistake. And I went, yeah, and mistakes are okay, right? I go, yeah, so I'm not in trouble. That's right, you made a mistake, so it's okay. Right, it's a mistake. And at other times, I'll make a mistake. I'm always real important to tell her when I make mistakes. Daddy made a mistake, see? And what she does is she goes, yes, Daddy, you made a mistake. You made that mistake, Daddy. You made that mistake. I go, you're right, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. It's amazing how for me as a loving father, it's so easy for me to admit my mistakes. My wife does it, watch out. Okay? But when my daughter does it, I know I'm giving this great gift. Because what happens to us as children is when our parents make any mistakes and they don't cop to it, then the child always feels like it's their mistake. They must have done something wrong. It's like my daughter fell off a chair the other day, and I was watching. And I thought she was going to be okay. I thought it wasn't going to happen. And she fell backwards on a rocking chair because she was sitting backwards in the chair, which generally a mother would never let happen, but here I am, this Martian father, thinking, hey, you know, if she's getting off on it, and there's a risk there. It's like trust, you know, a little boy who goes, hey, Dad's really trusting me here, you know. But it was a little girl, and when she fell over backwards, and I was just about to stop her because there was a glass table, but all of a sudden she turned the chair around so all she would fall backwards on, which is a wooden floor, which isn't that hard when you bang your head. I mean, they're always falling down and stuff. So she's doing this thing, so, especially around me because I trust them, okay? So she falls backwards, and then she hurts and she cries, and I hold her, and then she gets mad at me and she says, no, and she goes into her room and she's really upset, and I basically said, I actually figured out quite quickly what she was upset about, is here she was, this little girl, trusting her daddy who wouldn't let her do anything that she would be hurt by. You know, and now she's hurting, and she doesn't know whether it's Daddy's fault or her fault. Ultimately, she's going to end up feeling bad, and she's not okay, unless she gets angry about it and says, I'm angry. And I said, I understand, you're angry. Tell me you're angry. Yes, I'm angry. I said, well, you're right. It was my mistake. I made a mistake. I didn't realize you were going to fall, but I should have told you not to do that because I'm a daddy and I should know those things, and I made a mistake. She went, yes, you made a mistake, and I'm angry. I went, that's right, and I deserve to be forgiven. She goes, but I'm not ready to forgive you. and walks off. And I said, I understand you're angry, and she says, yes, and I'm sad. I'm sad that you weren't there for me, that you didn't protect me. And I say, she's learned that her feelings are okay, and she's learning about her feelings. And then she came out and she was so loving. She was, Daddy, I forgive you. I love you. And then the trust was back again. So it's like, and I made sure, I said, I made a mistake. I didn't mean for that to happen, but if I had been clearer, I would have protected you, and I didn't do it. Next time I will protect you from that. And she was like, okay with that. It was just, what a dialogue. I had nothing like that when I was growing up, you know? It's just like kids are upset, you let them go to their room until they feel better, and then they come out, and that was it. But she gets to know what she's upset about by talking about it and having parents that help her to make sense of it. So that's child to parent. That's getting doses of vitamin P. If the first 7 years tend to be a lot about developing our self-worth. What do we deserve? I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be forgiven. I deserve to be supported. I deserve to be appreciated. All these sense of what I deserve tends to develop around that time, vitamin P. Okay, and that's these needs that we need to fill up these tanks. All the way through our life, we need to keep getting that. But if we were deficient in it in childhood, that means as adults we have to work harder to get that. But we can. It's never too late to have a perfect childhood. It's a real important thing. I saw it in a billboard in LA. It's never too late to have the perfect childhood, and you can create it. See, whatever you didn't get, you can create in your life now, which is getting that kind of support. People who give you that support. Seminars can do it. Therapists can do it. Your parents can do it if they've healed, or you create surrogate parents, other people that you greatly respect who love you, and you nurture that relationship. Mentors, teachers, experts, people who are there for you to help you develop. Okay, number 3. And this is, after 7 years old, a new tank becomes very important, and that's vitamin F. This is when we start relating more with the family members. This is when peer relationships are much more important, family and friends. Now, this doesn't mean that relationships with friends and family and brothers and sisters isn't important in the first 7 years. It's just not the major form of development at that time. The major place where we get traumatized or healed is from our parents. After those kids are 7 years old, parents, you can't do anything more than fill up one of those tanks. Okay? The other tank is up to them. And it's up to you to create an environment where they can get it. But you can't do it. You can't just cloister your child and keep them away from other kids and try to keep them in a pure environment. They got to be around all kinds of kids or their family, especially people who have same values. That's what you want to create. Family and friends. If they don't have family, then especially create friends where the children play together and so forth. And this is a time where a lot of our traumas come up around family, is around the age of 7 to 13. And this is a time when we need family and friends the most. If you don't get a lot of that support, one of the symptoms in your life is you tend to be too serious, you can tend to be inhibited, or you tend to be introverted, or you might become overly extroverted, but you're not real because you don't want to reveal who you truly are. Okay, this is a time, a lot of self-esteem. Self-worth is the first 7 years. To me, I see vitamin F, self-esteem, feeling good about yourself. Okay, is another level of feeling good that happens at that time. It's as though the way I learn about myself is to watch my brothers. And I go, well, they're like this, and I'm like that. It's gaining awareness of who we are is what the whole process of maturing is. Maturity is, a certain level of maturity is where you know who you are. Another level of maturity, well, we'll get to different levels, but we're working towards at least being able to love ourselves. The key point here is, at these earlier stages of development, you do not have the capacity to love yourself. You are dependent on others and their love. You are a victim. Whatever circumstances you're in, you're dependent upon that circumstance to fill up with love. These first 3 tanks, God, parents, and family, they're all based upon the people and the situations you're in. You have no power to love yourself yet. You need these messages. Like my daughter can't really feel I did a good job and believe it unless somebody's in agreement with her and teaches her and lets her know again and again, thousands and thousands of messages that you're okay, you're enough, it's okay to be who you are, it's okay to feel what you feel, it's okay to have your dreams can come true, you are great. I remember once when I shared a dream that I had at the dinner table with my kids, I once said, you know, I've realized that my teaching career is going to go on for a while, but I think in my 50s, I'm going to run for president. I'd like to be president of the United States. I think that what this country deserves is a really enlightened, loving leader, and I think it'll be ready by that time. So I told my kids that. What was their reaction? Oh, that's ridiculous. Who are you? Who do you think you are to think you could be president? That's their self-esteem. Who do they think they are to be special, to do something special? And that's how, you know, somebody says, I want to be a seminar leader. Who do you think you are to be a seminar leader? That's the message that come up. Fortunately, I didn't have those messages come up for me because my mother believed in me. Ever since I was a little boy, I would talk and give my own ideas and speak out. My mother used to just listen. She never once corrected me or even acted like she already knew it. It was like, wow, this is great. My little son, he's going to be this great teacher someday. She always believed in me. It's like she saw it was going to happen. And so when I was 18, I could start standing in front of groups and teaching. I mean, I had some kind of confidence. I was also scared to death. I fainted the first talk I gave. I stood in front of an audience. I stood up, and I went unconscious. I looked like I was dead. It freaked everybody out. I mean, it just freaked them out completely. But that's how much fear I had. I mean, it's a scary thing to put myself out like that. But what gave me the courage to keep doing it and going at it again and again? Somewhere inside, I felt that support from my mother, who believed in me, who never corrected. To me, it was a real important thing that she didn't ever improve on it, because then I would feel like I was, not good enough. It was always like just enough coming out. She'd listen to me talk. She'd go, "What was that idea? What's that?" Like light coming into me. And boy, that support is with me always. It's like the voice never comes up. Who are you to put your ideas out there? Who are you to come up with a theory like this? Who told you this? Nobody. These are all my ideas in this seminar. Who am I to put it out like that? Just a person who's worked really hard and loves a lot, lives a good life, and these ideas have come through. And I deserve it. That's who I am. But her support gave me that support to feel that. See, sometimes your vitamin P won't come from your real parents. You find it from somewhere else. But some of us are going, gee, my aunt loves me and my mother doesn't. And we push away our aunt's love because our mother doesn't love us, instead of going, gee, my mother doesn't love me, but at least God has given me a surrogate mother through my aunt. And we start needing to appreciate where we are getting the love and support instead of pushing it away. This whole theory came out of one of my clients who I spent a year with, helping her heal with her relationship with her parents. They were very dysfunctional. They wouldn't answer her letters. They wouldn't talk to her. It was awful. And yet she felt this tremendous need for their love. And after about a year of therapy, it was Christmas time, and she stopped coming for the holidays, which many people do. And she came back in January, and I said, "How you doing?" She says, "Terrible. I had awful holidays." And well, tell me about it. She says, "Well, after all this work I've done, all these letters I've written, I've been so loving, I called up my mother, and she wouldn't even talk to me. And they didn't even want to see me on Christmas." And guess what happened? The same Christmas Eve, or the day before Christmas, my mother's sister, Aunt Thelma, calls. And she said, "How am I doing? What am I doing?" They even invited me to their house for Christmas dinner and for celebrating Christmas. And my own mother wouldn't even do it. I said, "What did you do?" She said, "Well, I didn't go." I said, "Oh, and you spent Christmas alone?" She went, "Yeah," and she cried a little bit. And then she said, "And then you know what else happened? Christmas morning, my own brother wouldn't let me come by to see my niece." And the same day, and get this, my goddaughter, her mother of my goddaughter, called me up and invited me over to spend Christmas morning with them. And my own brother wouldn't even do it. I said, "Well, did you go to your goddaughter?" She went, "No, I celebrated alone." And in my heart, I just had tears come to my eyes of fulfillment of her growth, even though she hadn't fully used it. And I said to her, "Can you see what's happened here? Is you've done all this work on healing with your brother who's rejected you and your family which has rejected you. And what God's giving you in replacement is your mother's sister who's welcoming you into their family. And here you have this goddaughter and the mother over there inviting you there. The love is there." And she burst into tears and she realized it. It was there. She just had to stop pushing it away because it wasn't coming from where she wanted it. And that was a huge healing for her, healing for me. It was the birth of all these theories. And the other side of it, at the same time, my wife was also going through this, where she was realizing that she was expecting all these things from me, and she had to realize one person couldn't give it to her. She would spend time with her women's support group, and they would be loving and supporting her, and the whole time she'd be saying inside, "But why doesn't John do this? But John doesn't listen to me this way. But why can't I get it from John? Why can't he be like this?" And she was pushing out their support with this, "But I want it from John." And now she goes, "I don't need it from John. I need to appreciate whatever John gives me. He's great. He's got his Martian things he does. That's enough. Let me get this Venusian stuff over here, Let me enjoy it all." And so she let go of not only looking to everything from me, but she also let go of the expectation she put on herself that she should be getting everything from me. Because that's what we do. We expect our relationship should give it all to us. Otherwise, somehow our relationship is inadequate. And that's not true. So let's keep going through this biological evolution here. So now we're up to about age 13, and there's a shift again in our consciousness. What happens is we start pulling away at puberty. Little boys, little girls start pulling away from their parents, started pulling away from their siblings. And this can be really hard for their siblings and their parents when they're pulling away. And that child now wants to hang out with their friends. Peer pressure is a major thing. Can anybody relate to that during your teenage years? Peer pressure. It is your most important need. At that time, Your parents' love is not what you need to be dealing with in therapy if a child's doing therapy at that time. They need to be dealing with what's going on with their friends, you know, of the same sex. They need to work on that relationship of the same sex. But of course, if vitamin F and P and G are deficient, they need support in those too. But the major thing we're learning at that time, the major thing we need during our adolescent years is hanging out, being with the same sex. Guys doing things with guys, being on teams, being in gangs, whatever it is. I couldn't get on the football team, so I had a motorcycle gang. I was the littlest kid in my class. I had this big motorcycle. It looked like it was my big brother's or something. And what I do is to really look like I'm tough and mean, I wore this Nazi helmet with a black wig on, and I painted a mustache and sideburns on my face. And I thought I was so tough. And I pull up to these girlfriends' houses or whatever, and the parents would say, is he a girl? I mean, is she a girl or a boy? What is it? Who is he? Or whatever. And it was so deflating to my ego. You know, just like I thought I was so big and tough and everything. But it was part of me being with guys and doing guy things. And it's important to support your children in being with members of the same sex. It's not wrong to be with members of the opposite sex either at that time, because it's a big attraction. But the main lessons we have to learn is being and doing with the same sex. Okay? As from my perspective, having too much sex or having sex with the opposite sex can sometimes push you further along on the thing. And that too much sex in those early adolescent years can cause insecurity because you're really not yet capable of loving another human being. You know, a little girl opening herself up to some guy, afterwards he's just shut down and wants to go off and be with the guys again. How does that leave her feeling? You know, her self-esteem crashes because she's having sex with somebody before she's capable of fully loving herself. She's still dependent on this other person. I mean, sex becomes fantastic once you've learned to love yourself. But, you know, as we're growing, we are developing gradually our self-love. But during the adolescent years, same-sex relationships are very, very important to heal us. And whatever we're missing during that age, we need to make up for it later in life. Okay. Then we move into the 21 to 28 stage, and that is our period of self-development, self-improvement, self-growth, a selfish phase. That's where we are into ourselves. Now, we may be married at that time, but just know the rules of marriage need to be you getting what you need. Are you learning about yourself is really the major thing. It's a time of self-discovery and loving yourself and forgiving yourself. It's this, you know, finding out who you are, what you're going to do in this world, discovery of talents, skills, purposes, values, ideals, all that. It's a time of personal growth. This is a time when we practice loving ourselves. In a sense, this whole seminar is personal growth, which has to do with filling up the vitamin S tank, loving ourselves. And even though we may be older than 28, we still have that need inside, and we have to fill it up inside, okay, which is loving ourselves. But as we then move beyond 28 up to about 35, each one of these stages is 7-year segments. It tends to go in sevens. Okay, we move from 28 to 35, and that's the time when the major lessons we have to learn have to do around the opposite sex. For me in my life, that's when I learned all this stuff about the opposite sex. I couldn't have come up with all this stuff about the opposite sex at an earlier age because I didn't love myself enough to figure it out. See, I want to blame the other person. I want to make them wrong. It's only when I love myself that I'm capable of loving another human being. That's when you're capable of really having a partnership and a commitment. And sometimes people expect to have these committed relationships before they're 28, and it's real difficult. It's real difficult to know or to figure it out. But for some people, maybe they mature a little earlier, they want to do it earlier. That's their personal destiny. That's the only problem with this theory is I don't want you to get too structured by it. But if your feelings go along with this, this is to support them. Many times people get divorced around 28 because they find out who they are and who they want, and it's not this other person. Yet others, they go through that transition and their relationship can survive it. There's many people who have been married since they were teenagers, and they've really worked through all these stages together. But it does change. If you've been married before 28, what you have to go through is kind of a healing crisis, and that the man especially has to realize the woman he's married to is not the same woman anymore. Okay? Can any women relate to that change? I mean, you are not the same woman, and your needs will become much greater for a relationship in your 30s than in your 20s. It's a lot easier to fulfill her in her 20s than in the 30s. Okay? And you've got to have all this knowledge so you understand her needs, and she needs to feel okay about her needs. Otherwise, she'll wait till she's in her 40s and 50s to start asking for it. When this is a good time to begin, really, based on loving yourself, learning to give of yourself to the opposite sex and making sure you get back. The rule of this level, vitamin O, opposite sex, another rule at this level of maturity is having a relationship where you're equally responsible. And all the 5 levels before, God, child to parent, family, friends, same-sex, self. They're all very narcissistic relationships. It's about, what can you give me? That's what it's about. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you can fill up, if I can get what I need during those stages, then when I'm biologically mature at 28, I can now learn to give to others. And people who try to be too giving at earlier stages, then when the time they get where they're biologically capable of really giving, they're empty and they can't give. So the trick is, it's okay to go through these stages and don't have to be this great person for the opposite sex or for somebody else and have this equal, responsible relationship until you're at least loving yourself and you're 28 years old. And that goes to about 35, and there's a new maturity which takes place where you're now capable of partnership. Now you're capable of giving your love unconditionally. Based upon a partnership of love and all these other tanks being full, you can give of yourself to your children, to your pets, to ecology, to causes, to help the poor, and you will not feel depleted, but you will be filled up. As a matter of fact, if you're not giving of yourself unconditionally, you'll feel empty. You'll get depressed. After 35, if you're not serving others with unconditional love in some compartment in your life, you will be depressed and you don't know where it will come from. I know one guy, he'd have fights with his wife, and he was of this age over 35. He would just go to the beach and clean up the beach, do something for the nature, and come back and be loving to his wife again. So that's a tank that we have to fill up, which is vitamin D. Taking care of our children, pets, poor people, needy people are taking care of planet Earth. Okay. And then as we get up to our midlife crisis, that's where vitamin C comes in. That's around 43. Generally, most people don't pass 43. Okay? What happens is they've been so depleted of love up to that point that when their biological maturity says, now my life is about service to society, to the community, they can't give of themselves. It's unconditional love. It's not coming back at all. It's like, what can I do for them? That's too much to ask of them. They're not mature enough. Biologically, they need to be doing that. But basically, they can't give because they're so depleted. Some men, when they go through the midlife crisis, they want to go back to adolescent years and do things with the guys and go date girls that they don't even know or whatever, you know, and sex. They want to go wild things. They want to spend lots of money. Or some want to become monks and go off and live in the Himalayas, you know, and do this introspective work, loving yourself. It's just like one movie I saw, Look Who's Talking. Look Who's Talking. When the woman was involved with his accountant and she had his baby, but he didn't want to marry her, and he would keep coming back to her. Well, he's going through his midlife crisis. He says, well, honey, I'm in a selfish phase now. I'm in a selfish phase. I think she said, well, I'm in a violent phase. I'm sure you understand this, that she starts destroying his office, you know. But it's this midlife crisis. People think they have to go back and act out all these stages. You can't go back. You can't go back and be a child. You can't go throwing tantrums when you're 43 years old. What you can do is hire a therapist and throw a tantrum in that office. Okay, but you can't go treat your kids that way or the employees at your office. You can't treat your wife that way. If you were this guy in your teenage years and you felt like you had to stay with one girl and be committed to her because you wouldn't want to hurt her, and all of a sudden now you're married to that girl, you know, you never got a chance to experience rejection, being rejected, moving from one partner to another, exploring what are different people like. All of a sudden you're 43, you got to find out. I got to find out what all these other women are about. Don't do it. You'll destroy your life. My recommendation is you talk about those feelings. If you want to understand other women, go to seminars where other women are talking and sharing, but don't act it out. See it in some movies or whatever. Let that way act it out. But don't act it out, because you can so easily, in trying to fill up from your past, give up what you have now as an adult. In the book Think and Grow Rich, okay, with these successful people, what they found, which was an amazing statistic, is they were passionate with their wives. And in a 90 percentile, they were all committed to their wives and monogamous. There were a few exceptions where it was like this, because divorce wasn't that okay at that time, where there was the wife and there was the affair, and that's where his love really was, and there was a really good relationship, okay? But that was the exception. It was kind of like accepted by the wife or whatever. But it's not the ideal, and in most cases, here was this man who could keep the passion alive, and the woman kept the passion alive in the relationship, and those were the seeds of greatness. There was passion. But if you all of a sudden, you have all this power and greatness in your life, and you just go off and, you know, start having meaningless sex, okay, quick affairs, start lying, start being deceptive, all this stuff, it's like going back to a lower level of ethics that you were just developing. And it's like, here you've got to hold it all together. And there's all these tests of greatness. There's temptations, and the temptations are to draw you back, and you've got to maintain your strength and yet heal. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want to go do it. There's nothing wrong with saying, I feel like it. There's you know, you heal all that. But when you actually do something to hurt the people in your life or to hurt yourself, it's just, It's hard. It's hard for you. But that's just the talk about it. Some people just have to do it and go through their lessons and learn their lessons. And there are people, divorce for some people is a good thing. And they need to get a divorce. They're not right for each other. They've changed so much and they don't want to be together. That's it. And for some people, I'm really glad that my first wife and I got a divorce. I would have never been able to say what I just said if we hadn't gotten a divorce and I healed and got back with Bonnie, who's this incredible woman. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to my first wife for having a crummy relationship with me and my having a crummy relationship that it ended so I could have what I have now. But it was different. Once we got real, we didn't want to be with each other. And that's the whole key. It's these people who love each other but just don't know how to make it work. This course, this information is such a valuable gift to them. And at those times, the love is there, but you just don't know how to do it. That's when you need to put on the tapes of this course. That's when you need to do some of these exercises. That's when you need to fill up all your other tanks and not look to your partner. Sometimes you might need to take kind of a vacation from your relationship for a few months. For some people, in a few years, to go into therapy, to work on yourself. Instead of thinking, gee, my partner's not perfect enough for me. Go on some spiritual retreats, take some time to meditate, to fill up with your other relationships. So you're not looking for that from your partner. So many people are out there just looking for the perfect person. Can you relate to that? Looking for the perfect person. I know for me, until I was healing this part of this compartment, even after I was married, but even before I was married, it was really strong. If a woman walked by and I didn't see her face, it's like I wanted to see. Okay, can anyone relate to it? Like looking to see who it is? Is that the one? It's like we're always looking for the right one. The right one is really within us. Okay? See, when I'm loving myself, the right one will be right there for me. When I'm not loving myself, the people I'm with are not the right people for me. Just because I'm not loving myself. And as I love myself more, I always attract into my life the right person. People go, how do I attract a mate in my life? Love yourself. When you're loving yourself, when these other tanks are open and are filled up, you will have the right person. They'll be right there. It's miracles. You don't have to go hunting them down and looking for them. If you feel to do that, that's okay, if that's what you want to do. But know that the real solution is going to be for filling up your tanks. And when you're ready, the person will be there. Just like the old spiritual teaching. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so vitamin C is when you get to 43, midlife crisis to 49, if you can weather those times and really be of service and give unconditional love, you become great. And that's when you find your peak of greatness around 49 years old. Many people find they sort of peak in their careers at that time. They get the recognition, they get the power. If you look at men's earning potential, it tends to be between 46 and 54 is their greatest earning periods. Okay, for those that make it, others don't make it. But you need to have all those tanks full. From that point on, from 50 on, that is a period of unconditional global consciousness. You're a whole, complete individual. And then there's going to be an exercise I'll talk about later, which is the love letter technique, which is a journaling exercise, which is go to your cave and start writing out what you feel. Imagine that you have someone you're talking to and you start writing. And it's almost like automatic writing. You just start letting it flow. And that's how it all starts to come out. Because especially many times, a man just won't have the patience to listen to you do verbal automatic writing. He'll think, where's this going and what points are you making? And really you just need the space to do this exploration process of what your feelings are. And what I've done being a good Martian is systematize the whole process of being unsystematized, okay? Of being spontaneous and flowing. There's a structure. I've created a map of what your feelings are. Because if you have certain blocks to certain emotions, that can block you from ever getting to what you really want to get in touch with. For example,
yes, so just listen to the recording of John Gray talking about emotions. See? And I'm quite impressed what he has to say, because one of the things what we need to be in control of is our emotions. Definitely our emotions, And as we earlier on, we had Dr. Kinsu, who was talking about everything about mental health and talking about our emotions, and also talking about the things we hold on to, from childhood. See, and it's about acceptance. One thing Kinsu was saying that, we need to take responsibility as parents. And because you see, he's not there on a blame thing. What he's saying is that the way we, I should put it, the way we, right, I don't want to be judgmental because function, our parents done the best what they know at that particular time. See, at that particular time. So, in them days there, if you get a whipping, anything what goes, if you misbehave, say we get a shoe in your head and you get beat by this and that, and all right then, yeah. But at the same time, right, our parenting skills need to be questioned still. See, because again, we hold into a lot of resentment from our parents, from relationship, and we're not able to let go of those things was hurting us, right? It's like someone, as I said earlier on, someone said to me, "Why do you want to hold on a whole bag of shopping?" You imagine, 2 hands on the whole bag of shopping. Hold on. You need to let it go. And the whole thing about let go and forgive. See? And when we're talking about, because, we're focusing around the whole thing about mental health, stress. And as I said before, that we all got mental health. There's mental health, there's physical health, there's spiritual health. But there's mental illness, there's bipolar, you know what I mean? And, people go in depression and, we have to look at these because, some it could be just the story we just tell ourselves over and over again. But you can flip the script. Some is just chemical, biological chemical was gone out of balance, hormones out of balance, and so forth. See? Some is just caught in trauma. Something happened and just caught in that. And that's human. And then these things happen. But where there's a problem, there's a solution. And one of the things we need to do, as men, I'm talking focus mostly around men. We need to talk as men because women, they would talk among their girlfriends. Yeah, they're on the phone, and they would talk, and talk it up. As men, we need to create a safe environment for us to, I use the word, to let off. Just to let off. So, we expect a call from our beautiful brother MX, and also Rasmin to be phoned in very shortly. Expecting a call from brother Rudy, who will be joining and talking the whole thing about mental health. So I'm just playing some more of the recording of oh, we've got someone here. Greetings.
Yes, I. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, okay, man. Good.
Enough respect, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Great show. Great, yeah, I'm good. Give thanks, Great show. I've been catching, because I've had a few calls to take, but I've been listening to the show, and I just heard you just talking as I come off this call.
Oh, fantastic.
So, yeah. So it's you were talking about emotions, Dougie, and I think you were probably alluding to some of the stuff that the other gentleman, the video you were playing, the clip you played. Yes. Who is that person out of interest, Dougie?
Yeah, it's John Gray.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've never heard of him.
Yeah, it's quite well known. In fact, I've been playing a lot of that, and a lot of people have been saying they want a copy and so forth. So I'll probably do a couple of copies for one, two individuals. He does a lot of stuff around relationships. You know the book there. I think it's Men from Mars, Women from Venus.
Oh, seen him.
Yeah,
write
he's the one who.
Oh, okay.
John Gray.
Him write that?
Yeah, he's the one who put that together.
That's a classic, that book there still. So it's obviously he kind of has a great idea of what he's dealing with. But just talking from the emotional perspective, just adding on to what you were saying, you're 100% right about controlling the emotions. You know, if you look about the African ancients, the mystery schools in Egypt, where the people who went in there become priests after 40 years, and they had to go through a certain processes. And one of those, and by the end of it, you actually became, not I don't want to say the word God, because it wasn't a God, but that's how people would say it today. You became a divine being. You became a netter. You became a master teacher. Do you understand, Dougie? And one of the aspects, amongst the many practices that you had to be involved in, like you know what we call martial arts, the foundation of the martial arts, or the body yoga, or the body movement started there. Astral traveling, focusing, use of the imagination. And another important aspect, which you've mentioned on a number of occasions, Dougie, is controlling your emotions. There's nothing as important, I think, than controlling your emotions. Because, you know, we're doing this mental health thing on the 23rd of March. And one of the reasons that people have issues with the mind is because they don't know how to control their emotions.
It's true.
They allow their emotions to get out of control, and then that takes you anywhere. People kill. You know, there's a thing called crime of passion in France. You can get a squeeze for the fact that you're out of control, basically. You're out of because you're out of your mind through emotion. So the emotions have to be not necessarily controlled, Dougie, because emotions are emotions, aren't they? If something happens to someone you love, you're probably going to feel very sad. It's not unusual, and it's nothing wrong with feeling sad either, you know what I mean? So it's not about controlling the emotions. It's about not letting them control you. And there's a difference, I think, Dougie. Because in a sense, the only thing we can control is our own minds. Outside of ourselves, you don't necessarily have control. You can try and determine what you want to do, but you can't control anything, really. Only the way you think. That's the only thing you've really got true control over. You know what I mean? So our aim should be to work with that, first of all. And in line with the African saying, as within, so without. When your mind gets right, the external automatically becomes right, Dougie. When you get your mind right, everything else will fall into place. That's why there's so much emphasis on the mind, Dougie. It's of the greatest importance. And one of the ways to get your mind right, which is the best way to get it in balance. You know, when they say the saying, Dougie, you're the master of your destiny, you're in control. You're the master, self-mastery. That's what self-mastery is, essentially, you know, Dougie. Controlling. Not letting the emotions control you. Do you understand? Because that's what you're doing is that when something hits you, which is really hurting you, you're not letting it affect you to unbalance you. That's what we call self-mastery, which is the ultimate aim of our lives, is to be in absolute control of our minds. That should be the number one aim. And this is what we call self-mastery. Now, we use a saying, Dougie, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond. That's
it's
the
how
ultimate
you respond,
right there, Dougie. That's the ultimate right there, Dougie. Now, I can say to you, you know, that I was going through a little emotional period recently with my mother. And what I had to do in order not to be bawling was to focus. When you see, people don't realise that you can control the way you respond to the emotion that comes through you. When someone you love is in pain, it puts pain in you, basically. And what happens is that this pain wants to make you bawl and cry. Now, what I did, Dougie, and this is what I did when my mum got ill 10 years back. I breathe. When I feel this strong emotion coming through me, I just focus on my breath. I just start breathing. And what happens is you feel this emotion releasing from you. Because we don't own these energies. They just pass through us. If you hold on to it by thinking about it and owning it, it will control you. But if you let it go and breathe and stay present, that's a very important aspect of this, Dougie, to stay present. Then the energy dissipates, and this is what happens. So I never actually broke down, but I was weepy and I was sad, but I didn't break down, because anytime I felt that strong emotion coming through me to make me really want to break down, I just breathe.
Just breathe, I
just breathe. Just focus on essentially, and to be more specific, Dougie, you focus on your breath. Take deep breaths. Anytime you feel angry, stressed, emotional, anything like that, the number one technique to get you present, to get you back to the present moment, away from what's angering you, because it's something in the past or it's something you're worrying about in the future, to get you back to this present moment where there's no pain. Trust me, Dougie, there's no pain in the present moment, and people won't get that. But that's how I learned to let the emotion not get the better of me, by just focusing on my breath. Getting present, calming myself down. That's what it does. It calms you right down, Dougie. Because all you're doing is putting your concentration in one place, and that's on your breath, the present moment, yeah. And in the present moment is all the positive energy that you need, Dougie, because if you think about it, it's a little sidetrack, but it's the point's well made. If when you get an intuition to do something, Dougie, doesn't it come in the present moment when your mind's clear? When you get an intuition, you go, yeah, I've got this idea. So it doesn't come when you're worried, or when you're sad, or when you're in disbelief, or when you're doubting. It comes when your mind's clear. And your mind can only be clear when you're in the present moment.
When the present moment, yeah.
When you're in the present, because that's the only time intuition comes. It doesn't come at any other time. So anything you want, and intuition is usually guiding you to something positive. So anything you want positive, even if it's ideas that can, you've got to breathe and be present and just be in one with your surroundings. Listen to the birds that are happening in the moment. Be aware of your surroundings. If you see a fly buzzing, just observe it. Don't just be with the fly. Don't just be present and relax, man. And trust me, you'll experience a whole different world than the world of fear, doubt, worry, and disbelief. You understand? And pain, Dougie. So I encourage people to learn to be in control of yourself, to master your mind, to do not allow the negative energy to get the better of you.
Well, you see, I'm glad to say you've use breathing as a technique, as a tool to anchor yourself.
Absolutely.
Breathing is a very powerful tool. A very powerful tool. And I do encourage people to, get in the habit of just breathing. If you feel angry, you feel anxiety or whatever, just breathe. Just learn to relax. Relax. Shut your body down. Just relax. Hold the breath. Listen to the breathing. Observe it up and down. Just anchor yourself. See? So that it just relaxes you and it gives you a different kind of perspective now, you see?
Absolutely, Dougie, absolutely.
Because, it's quite interesting because, when you think about it, right? Look, there's men who's in prison for, and even women who, for every reason, they just get mad, get some argument, and them just shoot up or chop up and you can imagine now. Well, I'm saying that after going in prison after about a few weeks now, they say, well, what the heck I done that for? You know what I mean? you see, because they was in control of their emotion.
That's right, okay.
They just wasn't in control of their emotion.
Or they let the emotion.
Let the emotion, yeah.
And then they did something stupid as a result of being in that negative place.
You see. And, you have some people just get mad. When come home and heat of the moment, they get an argument with their wife, or the wife get an argument with their husband, and they get to find that, they might go on with things, or they might find husband in bed with the wife in bed with her next man, and this and that. It go already. And them just lose themselves and start chop up and shoot up and this and that. You know what I mean? See? Because again...
That's a crime of passion, isn't it, Dougie?
Yeah.
What we're talking about, what you're saying is absolutely right. And in France, the laws allows for it. Sorry, Dougie, you were saying.
No, but it just says... It just prove the point you say that it's about being in control of your issue. I mean, yes, it's sad. Well, it's level of matter when it happens. But you need to be in control, because that split second, right, that changed the event of your whole life. Because you're in prison for the next 20, 30 years, whatever the case may be, just for that split second of madness, right? See? So it's about being controlled. And it's quite interesting, because what's very important as well, that you need to have a purpose and a goal in life. See? And the reason why I'm saying that, because when you look at someone like Frank Bruno, who, as people are very much aware, he had these mental health issues, challenges. I use the word challenges, right? And, because he wasn't focused. He started focusing on some other stuff now, right? And resolved that, you know, it caused him to break down. Body system just broke right down. Result that he was in one of these hospital here,
places,
and they drugged him up, and even he was saying, I've got it on record, that the dose was too strong. At one stage he fell bang on his face, and you know, but now it's reached for a dark place. It's come through the light now. It's in the light, and even he was saying now what he does now, he looks after himself. You know, he trains, doesn't go crazy. You know, does a bit of yoga, watch what he eats, does a lot of talking. You know, and he just monitored himself, and now he's got a clear goal, and he planned, and he's got structure. See, you hear I said plan and structure.
Absolutely.
You know, and the thing is that if I met Frank Bruno, we'd go through his challenges. If he met you, Minty, right, Russ Minty, I know that you would have said to him that, Frank, you know, all your life you want to be the heavyweight champion, and you achieve it. What's next, Frank? Set yourself another goal.
Absolutely, Dougie.
You know, set yourself another goal. You know, the boxing's over. You know, but your life's not over. You know, set another goal.
That's right.
What it means, giving something back into boxing, into charity, because you know you love boxing or whatever. Train something, you know, but set something, you know, to focus on. And once you got focus, you have a direction. See,
that's right.
Goals is very, very important. If you look at someone like George Best, who was a talented footballer, everybody would know, right? Loved by, you know, millions of people probably around the world in terms of his talent. But when the football was over, the biggest buzz George Best had was drinking.
It was alcohol.
Because he needed that buzz. Because he was loved by so many people. That buzz on a Saturday where you adored everything, that's finished now. So him start to drink. And the biggest force in life, I want people to remember what I'm going to say here, is pain and pleasure. Most people run from pain to pleasure. That's why you understand why people take crack, cocaine, heroin. Because it's really a mask to cover up the pain, what they, you know,
of course,
what they have, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's important to have a purpose in life, have a goal in life, have a structure, have a plan.
Yeah, I mean, and what you're saying is absolutely right, Dougie. I mean, just to go back to Frank Bruno, which is actually a brilliant case to use of mind focus, because as you said correctly, Dougie, Frank Bruno wants to be the heavyweight champion of the world, and like I know a lot of people don't like him, but we can learn from his story, which is the most important thing, regardless of what we like him or don't like. I actually admired him for his tenacity in becoming world champion. Yeah. That's a wonderful thing. So we have to give him credit for that, at least, because it's a yin and yang situation with Frank. And don't get me wrong, I'm no defender of Frank. I was calling him Uncle Tom in Liverpool like everybody else was, Dougie. You know what I mean? So I'm no defender of him, but I did observe that good quality he had. He was very determined, basically. And that's what kept him going. If you're determined as an African, you're in slavery, to be free, you're going to be free, Dougie. You understand? You're going to be doing a Harriet Tubman, or you're going to be doing a Nat Turner and licking off people because I want to be free. If you're determined to become a carpenter and you want to be a builder because you want to build houses or you want to contribute to that, you will do it. Yeah. So it's the same as Frank, Dougie. Frank wanted to become world champion. That's all he ever spoke about. That's all he ever focused on. If you study his career from the beginning till he got the last fight he really had when he lost the world championship. He was always talking about he wants to be world champion.
That's right. Always want to be
wanted to be. Yeah. And he failed, I think, 4 times. He got it on the 5th, or he may have failed 3 times. I can't remember exactly. It was so many years back. But he failed 3 or 4 times before he got it. Most people would have given up after 2 or 3.
That's right.
This is the testament to Frank Bruno and to anybody. Just watch Frank Bruno if you want to be determined. You're not going to learn nothing cultural from Frank Bruno, but you'll learn about determination.
By his determination.
And that's it. So let's not be too hard on him. Let's learn from his life. The lessons he had to go through. But with Frank Bruno, what happened is, Dougie, and I've seen it with many people, once you get what you want, it's not even just the refocus. It's just, I've got it. I don't need to try hard
Don't
anymore.
try, yeah.
And that's what happened with him. He had no way. He just said, I've got what I want. So what next? So he was just enjoying everyone going on Teddy Wogan and being on Blankety Blank and all these silly programs because he's the world champion. And he's getting all the applause, and he got caught up in that as well, I think, because that's what he wanted. He was living the dream. He wasn't training as hard. But also, when he's training, because he's the world champion, he's doing it for the media. He's just, not training hard at all. So he thinks, yeah, I'm the world champion, and probably thought he was going to stay the world champion, but because he wasn't focused.
That's the key word, focus.
Key word, Dougie. He wasn't focused on maintaining, because that's the next step in it. I've got to the world champion. Now I'm going to keep being the world champion. It's like you're setting up a business, Dougie. I'm determined to set up this business. And when you set it up, you don't just sit back and relax and smoke this big cigar. Push on. The next thing is now to make it a success. How am I going to market it? How am I going to promote it? How am I going to sell the goods or services I'm promoting? You've got to keep the plan going, Dougie, and he didn't do that. He got lackadaisical. He didn't focus on what was next. He didn't focus on his next opponent. The reason, if you look at the reason why Messi, Dougie, and Ronaldo were very successful is because, and there's a difference between them and Wayne Rooney, is because Messi and Ronaldo realised that it was the football that got them the money. Do you understand? Some players get the money and think that serves the football, if you know what I'm saying. If you notice a lot of these ballers, Joe Hart, Wayne Rooney, Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard, a few of them, as soon as he got onto the adverts things, you start to get money from outside the football, the form dropped. Because the focus was gone off the football. Messi and Ronaldo don't lose the focus. That's why if you study them, Dougie, they're still fabulous ballers no matter how much advertisements they make. Remember that. Those two have been consistent for years because why? They focus on the football.
On the football, yes.
It's not the football is what brings the money.
Yeah.
So as long as you just focus on your art, what you loved and what made you the money, you'll always make money.
Yes,
but if you start focusing on running around trying to get adverts and going to clubs and this and that because I'm getting caught up in the hype of making money. That's what happened to Frank Bruno also, Dougie, you understand? He got caught up in the hype of being the world champion. He was just loving it, and rightly so. But he got caught up in it instead of focusing on the boxing that got him there in the first place.
You
understand? So that's it. You've hit it on the head, Dougie. He didn't have nothing to focus on after he was just, and that's why I use Messi and Ronaldo as examples of focus. And these guys are like still wizards, and they're in the 30s. And they're still making loads of money outside the football. You understand? So focus on your art, focus on what you're good at, just go in it with love and attention and care like Frank Bruno did, like Messi and Ronaldo, Pele, and you'll be successful, man. As they are, if you notice, Dougie. And if the difference, another person, if you look at Wayne Rooney, look how terrible he is. What does he do? Wayne Rooney focuses on being the best footballer. He's getting drunk, isn't he? He's on flights, Dougie, getting drunk. He's in his hookers. Do you understand? Do you ever hear about Ronaldo or Messi?
Well, same with Paul Gascoigne, remember?
Of course, Dougie.
Gascoigne, after the football again, never see another goal, and again, he found himself drinking and all that, again, the focus.
The drinking thing, like you mentioned, George Best and Paul Gascoigne, the two great examples. I don't think it was the football that made them drink. I think they had issues before that, Dougie.
Oh, that definitely had issues before.
Paul Gascoigne and George Best both had issues prior to being football. It wasn't the buzz of the crowd because they weren't always playing in front of crowds, so it's not that you go to a big crowd one time and then you go home and you don't get it and you want to start drinking. That's ridiculous. So obviously it's not that, Dougie. It's happened over a period of time where I think they've got emotional issues from childhood, probably. A lot of it stems from childhood, Dougie. And I think the way, as you said, you get it on the head, Dougie, the way they dealt with the pain and the hurt is to drink because it makes you forget. And it makes you feel good, doesn't it? Heroin, cocaine, anything. Even if you're smoking a lot of weed, to be honest, you may be just doing it to forget or you're addicted. Or
it's to change your state. It's to change your state. That's what you do. What do you think people smoke for?
Absolutely.
To change their state. So when you look at something like take something like Jules Best, Paul Gascoigne, and there's a few of them out there. They want to change their state. They just want to change their state. Yes. So, and that's why I said the biggest force in life is pain and pleasure. Most people run from pain to pleasure. You know. So when you look at people like Jules Best, Paul Gascoigne, there's a hidden, underlying pain was really deep inside of them. You see what I'm saying? They haven't dealt with, you know, and so forth. See, so the drink is just really a mask to cover that up.
Yeah, cover the pain.
To cover the pain.
They probably don't even know why they're feeling it, or maybe they do know they got abused, or maybe they just don't know they're just depressed. They haven't, and they don't know they're depressed because a lot of people who have mental health illnesses don't know they have it, Dougie, if not all of them. You can't tell a schizophrenic he's a schizophrenic because he will say, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not, there's nothing wrong with me. I remember once, I was working with a guy who said he was a film producer. Now, there was about 6 or, because of, you know, part of my history is mental health, working in mental health. So I've worked as an outreach worker for an organisation called Tulip. And we went to this guy's house. There was a psychiatrist there, what they call consultants nowadays, the nurse, the social worker. We were there, outreach workers. There was 4 or 5 people. Now, this guy was telling you he was a film producer, and these people were here for an hour asking him questions. I'm just observing, by the way. I could have asked questions, but I said, let me watch this guy and see it. Dougie, listen, after an hour, I was convinced he was a film producer. I'm thinking, leave the kid alone, he's a film producer. Steven Spielberg's his pal, leave him alone. Dougie was so convincing, so if he convinced me, he's obviously convinced himself, basically. But he was a film producer, but every answer he gave was actually spot on. If he was an actor, he couldn't have done a better job, honestly, man. He was brilliant. I was so impressed, and it just goes to show that they don't know, people who are deluded don't know they're deluded, Dougie. This is the point I'm making. They have to break down, like fall down like Frank Bruno, or they have to be sectioned like a lot of black people are, unfortunately. Or your family can take it in and voluntarily take it in where you can come and go as you want to, but if you get sectioned, you have to stay in those places for at least 28 days, I think it is. Yeah, it may be longer now. Yeah. But it's just about focus. It's just about making sure that you have a plan. You know. But once you've discovered that you're ill, because sometimes you have to recognize you're ill before you can change it. Because if you don't recognize you're ill, you're not going to. People will have to section you. Yeah. So, when we're dealing with someone like the brethren who's deluded, then obviously we just have to section him because you can't get nowhere with him. But what we do with him, and what we were trying to do with him, is again what you were saying about Frank Bruno, which is the absolute correct thing, Dougie. It's about, you must have a plan and you must have a structure, basically. And this was our job in Tulip, to ensure that the clients we were working with had structured days. We tried our best to ensure that every day they were doing something constructive, or something that was a benefit, or something that they liked. There was a club, a fraternity. There was Mind, which was a place which was actually on 4th Street. And they could go there and just sit and chill with people and even get a weird sound. You know what I mean? It's a lovely environment. For our people, there was African, stroke, and Caribbean centres, if you like, where black people could go once a week, play dominoes, listen to reggae music or African music or calypso or whatever, and be in an environment where there's people like you. Because part of the healing is to be in an environment that makes you comfortable, Dougie, you understand? So,
hold on, say that again. That's very powerful. Say that again.
Part of the healing is to be in an environment that makes you comfortable. So if you can eat your rice and peas in hospital, that's going to recover you a lot quicker than eating fish with mint on it. Black people don't eat them things, you understand, Dougie? So eating like your dumpling, or if African, your fufu or goosey stew, that's going to make you feel a lot more at home than if you're eating rice, fish and chips or anything like that. So it's important to be around your own people. The staff of your kind, so that they can totally relate to what you're going through. Because we must remember the black people in mental health, they're the first to get sectioned via police or courts. The ones who get the heaviest drugs, get the longest remands, Now, the reason you made a good point with Frank Bruno, Dougie. The reason Frank Bruno fell down is because he's a big black man.
That's
you
right.
Have to pump him full of drugs,
right.
Dougie. This is what they did with
right.
a lot of our people.
That's right.
They didn't know how to deal with them.
Yeah, that's
they
right.
They didn't know how to deal with our people, Dougie. So when I was joining Metal Out, they were saying, we need you. Because we're racist and we don't know what we're doing. They told me this, Dougie. We have a racist philosophy. We don't know what we're doing with black people. We really need someone like you to come into this and help us. You know what I mean? So Frank Bruno fell down because he's a big black man, and the majority of them staff are not always like us, of African descent. And they're going to just be fearful of big Frank Bruno. So they're going to give him the most drugs to keep him subdued, Dougie. Because you don't want a violent black man in the metal outfit.
It's true, it's true, it's true.
That's their thoughts, remember, Dougie. That's the way they think.
Yeah.
So if you have African people in the system, people may still, Africans other black people who we're talking to may still act in a nutty way, but at least you can talk to them from a cultural perspective as opposed to it being a white man telling you you're getting the drugs put in you. Do you understand, Dougie? You can persuade them.
No, but you see,
right thing,
but you
as
see,
opposed to it's a big fight. You understand, Dougie?
Yeah, but you see, the key thing you said earlier on, right, is to create an environment,
absolutely,
a cultural environment. What to me is very, very important. Very, very important. You're absolutely right. You know.
Yeah.
The environment.
It's healing, Dougie. It's healing.
It's healing. That's right. It's Once you create that environment, you create that healing environment now, for them to be healed. So you got to start with that premises. See?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dougie. It's like if you get a cut on your hand and you're in Africa in the bushes or whatever, there's no medicine there in the sense of there's a plaster. They're going to put herbs and healing on it, which is in harmony with your body. You understand? So the same for the outer body is the same for the mind. We need to the reason our mind becomes disparate is because there's something that's dysfunction is creating a dysfunction. It's creating a disharmony. The way we get the harmony back is through love. Love is the key in all of this stuff. And the love must come through, as we said, that environment that you're used to, that cultural environment. People who look like you, who actually care for you, because that's another important thing, the care. They need to know that you actually check for them, if you know what I'm saying, Dougie. Because if they don't think you don't check for them, they're not going to trust you. Why are you going to trust someone who you don't think has got your best interest at heart? It's ridiculous. So these are the factors that will definitely lead to healing. And like just when you said Frank Bruno fell down, I know why he fell down, because he probably wasn't getting the right environment. And let's get it right, Dougie. His wife wasn't exactly the person to come and see him, was she? Because she just left him. She took all his money as well, didn't she? So let's get it right, you know. She's not helping nothing. You know what I mean? It's and who did he have? I think his mum had passed away. It was his only other family, and had his daughters.
And his daughters did.
Yeah, they were a bit young, though.
Yeah, they were young. But they're the one, I think, at one stage, they're the one stage, they did phone the police. The police, because he did talk about it, you know, and he had a after analyzing, understand, because he had a resentment. He had a kind of resentment towards his daughters at one stage, you know, because
his daughters or his wife.
No, well, he's obviously the wife's a different argument, but I think at one stage when they had a breakdown, I think they're the ones who kind of called the police and all that stuff there.
Oh, I see.
One of the times, the first time or probably the second, it might be the second time, and he felt that there was no need for them to do that, right? But after analyzing and so forth, he can understand why they done it. Because there was he did feel away at one stage, you know what I mean, right?
But this is what I'm saying, Dougie. Some people, when you're ill, even if you're like, some people don't know what's good for them.
No, it's true.
Some people don't know they're ill, and this is what I'm trying to say, man. The whole energy you're coming with is totally wrong. To be resentful to people who are trying to and have actually helped you, because it's pointless. And you can diss the mental health system as much as you want to, and I do, Dougie. I didn't ever give anybody any drugs, man. I always tried to find natural solutions. But I'm telling you, if you've got a big, not just black, but big anybody man who's not stable mentally, do you want him running around on the road, or would you want him in hospital?
It's true. That's a good point.
We have to be intelligent about what we're saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't want black people full of drugs
But it's better you're in that environment where you're not harm to yourself or others.
Harm yourself and not harming other people, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not, don't get me wrong, Dougie. There's very minimal cases of people who've got mental health issues causing mayhem. It's usually children from children's homes. Yeah. Not saying they're all bad, but a lot of them cause more mayhem per capita, if you do the percentages, than people who've got mental health issues.
Yeah.
These are the facts. So there's not a massive danger of mental health people running around on street. You don't hardly hear of it because it doesn't hardly happen. Dougie, trust me, I loved doing that work because I felt very safe in that environment. You understand, which people may find hard to believe, but it's more safe than it was with children, trust me. Them youths were wild. You know what I mean? So, but I'm saying, because remember we saw the incident on Seven Sisters Corner where a man just punched a man in his mouth for nothing. Do you remember that? Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is that we don't want that type of thing to happen, basically. You need to get some kind of treatment because you can't, because what's going to happen? Those things will happen and you might get hurt yourself. Yeah. So you're a danger to others and you're a danger to yourself. So you've got to be getting some kind of treatment. It's important that we recognise this. Yeah, so let's not be too hard against the system. But we have to recognise that it's better those people that are not. Because Frank Bruno was in Liverpool knocking on people's houses, Dougie. Do you remember that? That's how he got called. That's how they put him in hospital, because he was knocking on a man's house in the middle of Liverpool, talking about, have you got a cup of tea or something like that? So they called the cops, and that's how he got put in jail. Got taken into the hospital.
Who's that?
You know, Frank Bruno.
Oh, Frank Bruno, yeah.
Yeah. So we have to realise he was a danger to himself, man. Yeah. I mean, and he could have been a danger to others. So it's better he goes to hospital. Yeah. And he's calmer now, so it's worked out.
He's a lot more calmer now, and he's working things out. What is good, you know? He's on the right path now. And like I said, it's all about structure. He's got a structure. He's got a plan. He's got a focus. You know, he watches what he eats now. He does a bit of yoga, does a bit of meditation. He talks. You know, he feels a bit on edge. He talks. He trains. Well, he's been training all his life still. Doesn't go crazy. You know.
But you see, the thing is, Dougie, all of these things is what you should be doing anyway.
Yeah.
This all will stave off mental illness or mental instability or any kind of ailment if you train, if you eat well, you do things like yoga, you do mindfulness, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You listen to his Les Brown video or Tony Robbins, if you like, or anyone who's saying anything positive. Listen to that every morning. Read a book, Acts of Faith by Ayala Van Zandt, which is full of positive sayings. Read that thing, the stuff you send me stuff, Dougie. I'll send you stuff, positive things that make you think, to be pensive, to contemplate on positive things, not negative things. Because a lot of illnesses, Dougie, some are chemical imbalances, so you can just, like, take a drug, smoke a spliff, and you get an imbalance, and that might send you loopy. So it's not always hereditary, and it's not always to do with your thoughts, in a sense of what you've been thinking in the past. But most mental illness, a lot of that is that thinking about something whack or terrible that's happened in the past, or worrying about something that's crazy in the future, which may know the aliens are coming, you know, some madness in the future, you know, and then. Obviously, if you have chemical imbalances, then you start seeing things. Some man told me he saw the elephant in his front room, so this is what we're dealing with. But most mental health illnesses are from the way you think. Yeah. And that's why it's important to control, because there's one thing you've got control of in your whole life is the way you think. You can say it, the mantra. You can say something, I am a successful carpenter. I have a great carpentry business. I am a great community activist. Whatever you want, put it in your mind and put the positive intention. Like you said, Dougie, focus, have a vision, have a purpose. Because the most important question we have to ask ourselves as black people, what is my purpose? Who am I? Why am I here? Those people who have mental health illnesses are not asking those questions. They're just getting caught up in the drama of the life, if you know what I'm saying, Dougie. And not asking that question, what is my purpose? What should I do? What direction can I go? What am I good at? What's my skill? What's my talent? If we ask ourselves these questions and put our energies into them, like Frank Bruno did to become world champion. Like if you look at Ronaldo and Messi, they put the energies into football. You understand, Dougie? And all the success and all the money they've made has come through football. Ronaldo makes 88 million a year, Dougie. He's 31 years old. He should be way past that, but he's not. Messi probably makes about 100 million a year. And it's not from football money they make the money. That's where the most of the money comes from. It comes from advertising all these foods and brands and Nike and Adidas and all these things. And that's because they're so good at what they do. People want to be part of them. They're attracting attention because they're focused on the art. So the focus, the vision, the asking who you are. Where can I put my mind? What can I put my skills and talents into? What skills and talents do I have? These are the questions we should be asking ourselves. Not worrying about Brexit. Worry about yourself now, because whether Brexit's going to come. So if you're not focusing on yourself, Brexit's going to make no difference. If you've got a talent and a skill that can remunerate you, Brexit's not going to make any difference to your life. So don't worry about Brexit. Worry about yourself and how you can develop yourself.
Yeah, truly.
That's the greatest thing. So this is what I'm interested in encouraging our people. This is what will avoid having mental health issues for the most part by focusing on something positive and believing that you can do it, having confidence in yourself that you can achieve it. You know, let's develop those qualities, man. Vision, being visionaries, and having seen good things coming out of our lives. And then focus on the ways that you think that you can bring that true. You can bring it into being, you know. Let's use our minds like that. Vision, having a purpose, having a focus is the best way to use your mind, okay? And this is what we try to encourage. That's why we say to the clients we work with, have a structure for your day, have a vision, have a purpose for your day. You know what I mean? If you have a structure, you have a plan, you can't lose.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay then. Well, Rasmi, to give thanks for your powerful contribution. And on the 23rd, we'll be exploring the whole thing about mental health. And I'm using when exploring, right? Because really we're exploring and asking some questions. What is mental health? What is stress? Why are we putting ourselves in put yourself in that condition? Just asking questions, you know what I mean? But the most important thing you said, Minty, well, we made many important things, but said, what is your purpose and why you're here? What's your purpose on this planet here? You know? See?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To me, it's again what you talk about all the time, Dougie. We talk about self-development, and this is what we're talking about, developing the best in yourself. That's what it is. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right, Dougie. That's what it's about. You know, when I first started listening to your show, that's why I listened to your show, because you were always talking about self-development, Dougie. So this is very much at the heart of the matter of all our people. We know what we can always get better. And so we're encouraging you to do that, man, every time, man. There's so much talent and skill in our community, Dougie. And just to finish on this, Dougie, the reason I know this is because I've studied my African history and I've seen all the amazing things that black people have done in the past. We've had our downfalls, but we've done a lot of great, great things, Dougie. And I am very confident in the abilities of black people out there, Dougie, that we can change the position we're in, and what people popularly think the best things were at the bottom and the worst things were at the top. But we can change all that perception by just having confidence in ourselves and believing that we can achieve certain things and having a vision. That means you must have a vision and a purpose for your life. This if you have a purpose and a vision, and just start off with things you like or things that you're good at. Just focus on those two things. If you don't know what it is, ask other people. They can tell you.
They can tell you,
this is the beginning of success for them. So, every time, man.
Every time.
Purpose, have a purpose and have a vision. Know yourself. Find out who you are and what you need to do, what you can do to help others. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Okay, then. So, listen. Rasmin, give thanks again for your powerful contribution. Very powerful. We're expecting a call from MX, and also his brother called Rudy's gonna phone in as well.
Lovely.
And touch on the whole thing about mental health. And like I said before, this is something we'll be talking about, exploring. Just open up some cans of worms and just exploring, because we need to be talking about this subject, you know. And the thing is that as men, we don't talk about what's really holding us back, and so we need to create a safe environment, and the word is trust, really, where we can just let off among each other, among men and so forth. See, in fact, just to let you know that a friend of mine, someone I know, I get to understand, commit suicide just the other day, right? Hang himself, right?
Oh my goodness!
And the youth there, it's weird. from Afghanistan, the man have everything. It's one of them sweet boy, them have everything, man. Man, whooping money. In fact, he was in the paper talking about how much he earned because he was in this this slim, some do slim life or whatever. He was 20 stone. He went down to 12 stone. And he was in the paper, you know, 6-pack and all that stuff there, and earning whooping money and whatever. Next thing you know, say, look what happens. But you see, something went wrong. We can't speak to him now to find out what went wrong. But we know something definitely wrong for someone to hang himself.
Take the life, of course.
Yeah, take the life.
But
you
know what? A lot of people, and not all people, some feel a good body, big body, and beautiful. But some people make up big body people feel insecure. He may, no matter how good his body was, Dougie, he was probably carried them insecurities even when he lost the weight. Yeah. One thing I realised, Dougie, and I know I'm supposed to go, but I just wanted to make this one point. I'd go training, and I used to go to the gym in Bodyworks. Now in Bodyworks, a lot of the men who train in there are like bodybuilders, proper bodybuilders, Dougie. Big bodies, but you know what? For the most part, them men were really weak-minded, Dougie. They were either violent, and we got on with them. They weren't violent with us, but they were violent because they obviously don't know how to think. Or they were very insecure, Dougie.
Yeah.
And like, these are guys who've got like bodies like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're coming to us going, "Oh, I had a fight with my girlfriend yesterday, and what? Big man like you fighting with her? What's wrong with you? Oh, what? I'm thinking, what? Good body doesn't always mean good mind, if you know what I'm saying, Dougie. That's what it taught me. You know what I mean? Big body doesn't mean big mind. You know what I'm saying, Dougie? And I'm not fighting the kid who passed away. That's terrible, because I know he was a friend of yours. But I'm just recognising that it was more to do with the fact that
insecure, yeah.
Yeah, there's these brothers with the big, the big muscly ones. Not the ones who are just training to be fit. Big muscly ones. They're doing it to make up for something, if you know what I'm saying, Dougie. Within their own minds, if they feel the external is good, then the internal won't be so questioned, if you know what I'm saying. Because some women just love a man who's got a big body like that, and they don't even need to say much, do they? So it's just sad. I'm not judging your friend. It's just sad that these people who look so strong physically are not strong mentally.
Mentally, that's right.
So yeah, there could have been a weakness in the brother's mind to take his life. I feel terrible for the brother. Yeah. That's so sad, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have to really build people's minds. Not about building bodies. Build their minds first.
That's right.
So this is the key. This is the kind of good way to end it anyway.
Yeah. Okay then. Rasmin, give chance for the powerful contribution again, yeah?
Every time, King. Take care.
Take care, my brother. One
love, King. Bless.
One love. Okay then. As a very powerful contribution by Russ Minty, and he's made so much excellent points. Yeah, it's an excellent point. In fact, let me give out the number, which is 07. Just bear with 1 second. 079 444 31366. I repeat, 079 444 31366. And we're talking about mental health. So let me just play some more recording of
along with keeping your tank vitamin G open and filling it up. You're always working on your relationship with God, but now the next primary relationship a child has is between child and parent. Especially it tends to be with the mother, but very quickly it's the father. There's various theories about this, but little children generally will say dada before mama, and so women don't take that personally. That's the case. And I remember my daughter said dada. I mean, it was one of those happiest highlights of my life. She woke me up in the middle of the night and she's looking at me. She goes, dada, dada. I mean, just like I still see her eyes and just the joy in my heart. She's relating to her parent, this parent who is happy with her. See, every little step, I did a good job. See, the parent looking at that, making that child feel happy. It's like my daughter, see what I did, Daddy? I did a good job. It's like, yes, you did a good job. You are so sweet. You are so loving. You are so good. You know, was I good? I didn't make any noise at the table during dinner in the restaurant? Yes, you have such good table manners. You were so good. Over and over, thousands and thousands of times, you communicate the message to this child that they are good, that they are worthy, that it's okay to make mistakes. Whenever Lauren makes mistakes, I say, hey, everybody makes mistakes. Daddy makes mistakes. It's okay. And you always deserve to be forgiven for making mistakes. So what will happen is sometimes, and you don't have to be perfect. There's another one she knows. I remember one time she was all really upset and fussy, and I was sort of reaching my limit. She looks at me and goes, Daddy, I'm just a little girl. You're the daddy. You're supposed to know how to handle me. And I tell you, at that moment, it's like God's power came in and I could handle her, you know? But, you know, you watch how many times when parents get frustrated with their kids, they look at their kids like, you should be better, you should do this, you know? The parent is the one who should have it handled, not the child. The child needs the parent's strength at that time. And sometimes she's she's got all this stuff down, and she'll do something wrong. She says, so I made a mistake, Daddy, right? This is a mistake. And I went, yeah, and mistakes are okay, right? I go, yeah, so I'm not in trouble. That's right, you made a mistake, so it's okay. Right, it's a mistake. And at other times, I'll make a mistake. I'm always real important to tell her when I make mistakes. Daddy made a mistake, see? And what she does is she goes, yes, Daddy, you made a mistake. You made that mistake, Daddy. You made that mistake. I go, you're right, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. It's amazing how for me as a loving father, it's so easy for me to admit my mistakes. My wife does it, watch out. Okay? But when my daughter does it, I know I'm giving this great gift. Because what happens to us as children is when our parents make any mistakes and they don't cop to it, then the child always feels like it's their mistake. They must have done something wrong. It's like my daughter fell off a chair the other day, and I was watching. And I thought she was going to be okay. I thought it wasn't going to happen. And she fell backwards on a rocking chair because she was sitting backwards in the chair, which generally a mother would never let happen. But here I am, this Martian father, thinking, hey, you know, she's getting off on it. And there's a risk there. It's like trust. You know, a little boy who goes, hey, Dad's really trusting me here, you know.
Greetings.
Greetings, brother Dougie.
How you been? You good?
I can complain, but what's the point?
Okay then. All right. Well, first we'd like to salute you to be on the line with us because when you spoke a couple of weeks ago, you gave us some clarity. You know, some pointers in terms of mental health, and we can't discuss a program about mental health or really bring you on the line because you're in the thick of things. You know, you're, as I say, you're on the battlefield with Russ Means. It's also got a lot of experience in mental health. See, and the reason why I want to bring this forward, you know, for the next few weeks, probably few months, is because I feel that it's a subject matter we don't discuss, especially as men, right? Mm-hmm. You know, we just wall it down, so to speak. Where women, them just talk about them sort of, you know, when they got any kind of pain, right? They will go to the doctor, they'll talk to their girlfriends, and, you know, they're under stress, and, you know, them talking to her. Where men know, if you wall it in your man, you don't talk about certain things, see? And that is our downfall, you know? And in fact, just to share with you very quickly, MS, a brethren of mine, commit suicide just the other day, right? Hang himself, right? And only get to find out that the brethren there, because he's very close to some people on my road and thing. Him and them grew up, and, you know, we grew up and everything, right? Yeah. And it's like when I saw the man, one day brethren there one night, so me my talk, and he whispered something to me. He said, "You never have to Lawrence." I said, "What happened to him?" He said, that man could be suicide. I said, what? Right? He said, boy, and the man had everything, you know, but that just shows you that the time we're in right now. And as you point out last time, in fact, you did experience something where the neighbor said something to you about her son, right? Yeah. And just to say that they say that every 60 seconds, someone commits suicide around the world. Every 6 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say thank you very much for inviting me on the show.
Yeah.
Brother Dougie, I really do appreciate it. this and rise up to Rasmini, who, you know, kind of brought me to the fold in terms of the North London side of people. So now I know you, I know DS Jammers, I know Rasmini, Elder Linden, you know what I mean? I know some of the big heads, the great men of North London, so I'm always kind of gassed. I'm sorry to hear about your friend, but mental health it's a real problem, and
yeah,
and like you've illustrated, when it comes to being a man, a male mental health, we don't really want to talk about it because it's not manly to talk about our problems, and then you have to. And then for me, there's a confusion there, considering we are Africans at heart, right? And we understand that in African culture, of course, communication was at the paramount of it, oral traditions, talking. What is it that, or where did we get this idea from that to not talk was to be manly?
Oh, okay then, yeah.
You understand? Now somebody's gonna quickly say, it was slavery. No. Okay, possibly, but there's a reason as to why since slavery we have continued to carry this narrative on. You understand? And I think that's worth discussing. Not necessarily here, but I think that's worth discussing at some point.
Definitely, yeah.
I heard a couple of things. I mean, I was listening to Rasmini, you know what I mean, and and I love Rasmini, like cook food. You get me? He was saying some things, and I was like, yeah. Then he said something, I was like, no. But that's how we are, innit?
Yeah.
But so I think I heard Rasmini say something along the lines of sometimes. No, let me not even say that. There's a problem when it comes to mental health, or no, mental health where it meets self-belief. Do you understand? So, for example, there are people out there who simply just believe that just simply by saying, I believe I can drive a car, it means that they can drive a car. Now, that kind of belief there, in my opinion, is crazy. To simply just have this idea in your head and to feel that you can actualize this thought without any preparation, any work into any steps in between, I think that's a bit crazy. Personally. So it's difficult because on the one hand, we are trying to empower people to believe in themselves, but you can't just be at home simply just, in my opinion anyway, and I'm not Dr. MX or anything like that, this is my opinion. You can't just simply just sit at home and just think, I can. You have to realize, everybody has to realize that this is a journey. You have to work towards these realities. Do you understand? Now, there's another aspect to this whole conversation in regards to, I mean, so we will possibly call ourselves Pan-Africanists.
Right.
So, how many people do you think called Marcus Garvey crazy when he said what the African can achieve, what the African can do? How many people do you think in his time said that black man is absolutely nuts? Must have been loads, right? So what this kind of shows is that, but yet we know Marcus Garvey was a great man.
Yeah, definitely.
And he was right. You understand? Does that make us crazy as well?
Right. Okay then.
Yeah. So this is the problem. So this is the problem as well. Like, there's a subjectiveness that exists where, because we're so many different types of people, this idea of what's crazy and what isn't it's always changing, and it's different. It's different between depending on who you're around. I heard Rasminty saying something along the lines of, "You have to be with your people." You understand? And when you're in your environment, you know, that's when you feel. That's when you can feel more.
More healing.
More healed. More stable.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very deep. Sorry, I feel like I'm saying a lot of different things, but it's very deep, sir. Do you know what I mean? And mental health. I mean, you know, just over the weekend, so me personally, I grew up fatherless.
Right.
No dad in my life. I probably seen my dad maybe about 5 or 6 times in my lifetime. And I'm like 37 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And recently, what's happened is that my dad's brother, my uncle, got my number from my sister, so we've been in contact. So recently, over the last weekend, I just spent the last weekend just basically because he lived in America.
Okay then. Okay.
And so we just been WhatsApping messages, and he's been sending me pictures, and I've been sending him pictures. You know, just practically catching up on. I don't know, maybe like 30 years worth of of whatever. So one thing that we kind of discussed, that I was talking to him about the damage that was done to me by not having a father in my life.
See.
And the mental anguish I faced growing up in South London.
Okay then.
Not feeling connected
to your father, yeah.
To not just to my father, but feeling connected to society, really and truly.
Okay then. Okay.
And so the reason why I say that is because I know that to a certain extent affected my mental well-being. And so now I'm a grown man, 37. I've got children, and I'm looking at the young people today and what's going on, and I'm seeing that a lot of them are being raised fatherless. I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm seeing that it's a similar situation to what I was in.
What you've been through, yeah.
Yeah, it's a similar situation what I've been in, and I do. That's why having this kind of conversation, you talking about men talking through their issues is very, very important, because I feel like with the lack of dads that are out there for our young black men, this is causing them more and more mental anguish. I feel like the benefit of having a dad is the connection, the connection to society. I think it's a bit strange, you know, Brother Dougie, because you know, moms are loving and nurturing and you know what I mean, and so you see that, yeah. But what do fathers do? And me being a father, what I have seen I've done with my own children is I have connected them to the rest of the family. It was me that was more likely to take them to the park than their mom, and therefore socialize them. Even though I wasn't really aware, I was just more willing to take them to the park for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But by socializing my children in this way, you know, I've been able to help them be more mentally stable.
Right. Okay.
So I look at like my 6-year-old son, yeah, and I actually think that I know at 6 years old he is far more stable in his mind, in terms of his determination, what he wants, what his purpose is. You know, even though he probably just only wants to be a footballer right now or whatever, he is far more, I'm going to say, sane in his mind than I was at his age.
When he's his
And I
age,
think-
okay then.
Then I was at his age, and I actually think it's the benefits of me being in his life.
Okay then.
Do
Okay.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what
So-
you're
so-
saying, so what you're saying though, MH, is that is that fact that you're in his life, you're more, you know, what I mean, he's become more stable.
Yeah.
Yes,
he's more
more grounded.
he's,
So yeah,
he's more grounded.
yeah,
So then, when you look at the wider aspect in terms of why we're suffering as black people, how disconnected are we from? How grounded are we? These are the questions we need to ask. How grounded are we as a people? And you can, and in my opinion, you can clearly see that we're not that grounded, really and truly. Some of us are more grounded than others, and so this is why, for example, the material things in life did not save your friend from.
it's true. It's true. No, that's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a very good point.
Do you
Very good
understand?
yeah, very good point.
Because one thing that we know, I mean, you know, me personally, I'm out there working as hard as I can. I'm trying to make every buck I can because I want to do some big things, and everything costs money. But I do know, or I do know that, you know, clothes don't make the man kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was something that I heard when I was a kid, and I thought, all right, cool,
Yeah.
yeah. But then you look at, let's say, some of these young people that are out there doing this madness, and some of them have on £170 trainers, and you've got on £250. While you're doing these stabbings and all this stuff, you've got on £250 tracksuits and all of this stuff. And so for me, it's just not. It's not surprising because you can't get. I feel like you can't get that grounding from these material things. So it's very so that's what I'm saying, brother Dougie. It's very, very important for you to carry out this mission of ensuring that black men are talking about mental health, because we need to talk about it. And the reason why we need to talk about it is because we need to heal ourselves so that we can therefore save our children.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
The idea that it's not manly to talk about your problems has to be thrown away. We cannot be saying that anymore. Because for me, in my opinion, the damage is massive. The damage has already been done. And again, I would just like to, and I'm asking the audience, I'm asking the world, where did that idea come from? Because I don't think it was African, so I don't think it was us.
So let me ask a question. In terms of the kind of work you do, right, and what you've observed and, you know, experienced, what do you think we should be doing as a community in terms of looking at solutions, or, you know, in terms of way forward? Because, like I said, you're in the thick of things, really. You know, yeah, you're really in the battlefield. So,
well, I mean, the work that I do. You see, I'm in the thick of things. I don't think I'm in the thick of things because I deal with. I'm a comms person, so I create flyers and put on events and get people talking and send emails, do websites where information can be shared. But I'd say the people that are in the thick of things are the people working on the wards.
Right.
You know, the people that have to look at these brothers every day and see them. A lot of them monged out. Some of them slurring their words. You know, those people are the people that I look at and just think, damn, man.
Right.
You guys are doing the work.
Yeah.
You guys are. I deal with numbers and statistics.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? But as what we need to be doing as a community.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to say there is no one rule to.
Yeah. I get to understand that. Yeah. Not one rule. Yeah.
There isn't this just one rule. What we need to do is present as many options as possible and allow the community to pick from the options. And you pick whatever you want to do, and you are not judged for what you pick. Do you understand? This is what we need to do. We need to find out what are all the options for us to curb this mental imbalance, you know, and you know, so for some people, a trip to Africa a trip to Africa could make you feel grounded. Do you get what I'm saying? It could give you the foundations that you need.
Well, you know, son. I mean, all right, I could talk for myself that when I went to Jamaica and I spent a little time out there, right? It's like, you know, when you spend a little time with it, it's like you know, it grounds you so much that it anchors you. You start looking at things totally different, you know. And I don't say it for work forever, but I think a trip to Africa, to Gambia, Ghana, one in place there, spend some time out there and just grown that person, that he or she or whatever, they give some problem, you know, film into nature, you know what I mean? And nature would take care of them, you know what I mean?
100%. But my point is this: is that you got to look at our community. Now we spend a lot of money apparently on a lot of nonsense, but do we all have passports? Do we all have the money to? So we don't. So that's one option for those that can afford it, a trip to Africa. But we also need to come up with options that anybody can afford. So on the other end of the scale would be something like for example, exercise. I heard Rasminti talking about it, and he's quite right. I think you said it when I tuned in. There's a relationship between your physical well-being, your spiritual well-being, and your mental well-being. And if we were to focus or educate people as to the relationship between the three, then there are things that you can do, free. Like, and I mean not free as in 1, 2, 3, free as in non-cost. Things that you can do to improve your mental well-being. Like, so for example, you can walk. You can go for walks. And you know, walking in Africa is very nice, but also, you know, 100 walking through Regent's Park is very nice as well. You know what I mean? That's not a bad part.
No, but you see, if you walk, if you're walking in the park, right, and just touching the trees, taking some fresh air and just breathing, just taking nature, that again it grounds you. You feel uplifted, and you know you feel alive.
Definitely.
You feel alive.
Definitely.
You know, it's quite funny because you know when you watch certain movie and some people go through some little tribulation, and what they do, you know, they bring them in some countryside and them out there just get themselves together. And when they come in the town, they're back alive again. You see what I'm saying? You know, but
Definitely.
I mean, we should take advantage of the park and the walk in the park, because you know, as a partner, every so often I go over there now and I just take the fresh air and look at the trees and hug the trees and
You understand? I mean, Rasminti even pointed out the importance of breathing. So again, let's say, for example, you don't want to go outside. Well, you can hold a meditation.
That's right.
not in the Rasta way, but you know, you can literally just concentrate on your breathing.
Yes.
And this will help to alleviate your mental stresses. Do you understand? You can also start, you know, reading more is another one. You know, I mean, so often I do wonder when I hear about these cases of young people doing this stuff that on the road, which I think is a mental is a madness, which is why I'm talking about it in this mental health thing, in this mental health way. I do wonder how many books these children have read, really and truly.
Yeah.
Do you understand? How many books they've read, and it's not necessarily, you don't have to have read the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey. I mean, just reading anything.
Yes, right.
Fiction, fact, whatever you want to read. You want to read the dictionary if you can.
Mm.
How many of these youths are reading? It's scary because I honestly don't believe that that they really are.
Mm.
And then it's also scary because children only like my children are avid readers.
Mm.
You know what I mean? My daughter's she just reads. I have to tell her to put the book down. I really do. I have to tell her to. I'd say to her, look, I spent £150 on a bike. You ain't even read it. You ain't even using it. But you're reading every book in the house.
Okay, that's amazing.
Go
isn't
outside.
It? Yeah.
Go outside and ride a bike.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying? So, my daughter reads. But where did she get that love of books?
Yes.
She got that love of books because me and her mum made sure that every night before she went to bed we read to her.
Oh, okay then.
Now
that's amazing. Yeah.
Now, but it's not even that amazing, brother Doug.
Mm.
It actually should just be standard.
Standard, yeah.
It actually should be just standard, King.
Yeah.
Because, but do these young people have that type of investment put into them? And that investment comes from the home,
Mm-hmm.
So, it's crazy, and it's a madness,
mm-hmm.
because there's so much we can do to alleviate these issues that we are facing as black people.
Mm.
I heard Rasminti say that don't worry about Brexit. I don't think I'm worried about Brexit, but I do wonder about Brexit. And I think there's a Brexit talk happening at the up your end at the Ma'at Centre.
Okay then.
Or something like
I
that.
I think some talking about it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because one thing that I know, or one thing that I'm aware of when it comes to stepping outside of the EU is let's say for example we had a bunch of brothers who were imprisoned under IPP, imprisonment under public protection.
Mm.
Yeah?
Mm.
That just meant that the police said that they were a threat. They didn't actually have to be doing anything. They just took them off the streets and charged them with a conspiracy. And when you get charged with a conspiracy in Britain, you can do from 1 year to 30 years.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Because it's a conspiracy.
But
did
they call it did I call it it's a word they call that, innit? Is it enterprise?
No. Well, joint enterprise.
Joint enterprise.
No, joint enterprise. Joint enterprise is when like they just lock up a whole bunch of you.
A bunch of you, and then if one of that's right. Then all of you,
So that's joint enterprise.
Yeah.
I'm talking about IPP.
What's that again? Let's put that down to us again.
The imprisonment for public protection. And what happened was this happened around I don't know, about 2010, 2011. There was a lot of cases where brothers, some of these were villains, you know what I mean, real bad people, but they were just getting picked up off the road for no reason at all. Now, what happened was somebody brought a case to the Supreme Court of this land, England, and it was thrown out of court, and it said no, the IPP people stay in prison. That same case made its way to the European court. When it got to the European court, that's when somebody in Europe said, actually, this is against the human rights. So all those IPP guys in the UK have to be let out. So that's how comes a bunch of brothers got let out of prison under IPP, because they were locked up, but then they got released because Europe said it was illegal. Now, the problem that we have now, or potentially, is that when Britain leaves the EU, that window of a second judge or whatever it was closes, and we are now just going to be subjected to the laws of this land. So I do wonder how this will impact the community. Do you understand? I feel like they're going to be able to get away with a lot more, and we're going to, you know, that's my. So I'm not overly worried, but I do think it's a concern that the community should kind of debate and work out and understand and strategize with. Yeah, sorry to deflect there, but
no, that's quite interesting. It's very important. I wasn't really aware of that, you know, and many people there probably wasn't really wasn't aware of that as well. So I'm glad that you were able to bring that information forward to onto the table here. Yeah,
but as far as what the community should be doing, like I said, you know, for the brothers out there, we need to start changing. I actually think we've actually come to a time where we need to change what it means to be a man. To be fair, I hear a lot of people talking about alpha males and stuff like that, and I'll get bored by this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that even that causes a certain mental disassociation or whatever, because you're trying to live up to this idea of being an alpha male, you know, you know, big, powerful, dominant. Everybody wants to be an alpha male, and you know, I was talking to my brother yesterday, and I was saying to him, well, that alpha male ideology comes from the animal kingdom. Yeah, it comes from the animal kingdom. Yeah, so this is why the people that talk about alpha males often compare themselves to lions, gorillas, and all the big bad animals that you can think of, right? So I said to my brethren the other day, listen, yeah, when a lion meets a new pride, and it's an alpha male, so it's the dominant lion, it kills all the cubs that are already there.
Yeah.
Goes around, it kills all the cubs. Yeah? It kills all the cubs and then mates with all the women, all the female lions. That's what alpha males do, because they have to dominate. Now, what I said to my brethren is, no, because he actually said to me, like, well, no, he's an alpha male, you shouldn't be feeling like this. And I said, no. This is why we had this conversation. I said, no, bro. What you need to realize is that, sure, there is a level to us as human beings that means that we are animalistic in what we do, because, you know, we can become animals. Yeah? But, like I said, in regards to, like, the lion and stuff like that, if you were to meet a pretty lady on the road and, you know, you moved in to her yard and she had children, would you kill all the children?
See, yeah.
Of course you wouldn't.
Yeah. And
the reason why you wouldn't is because you're actually a man.
Yeah.
And a man is higher than an alpha male. Do you understand? A man is higher than an alpha male. That's what an alpha male would go in there. People don't realize this because they didn't really watch David Attenborough. Do you know what I mean? Like how I did as a kid.
No, I didn't know that. You know, I didn't know.
Do you understand?
I didn't know that.
You can look it up, and I think gorillas do the same thing as well. When they find the woman or the female, whatever, they just get rid of all of the little cubs that they had from before. And this so my point is simply this: we need to start realizing that we are men, and we are higher than our animal selves. There is a part of us that is animal, of course. But as men, we're better than that.
Yeah.
And then when we get into this idea of men, then what you realize is that men can come in all different shapes and sizes. Because a man is really about his attitude. Ras Minty said something that was very key. I think, and I've come to this belief that being a man is about, I might use the wrong language, is about controlling your emotions.
Yeah.
Or balancing your emotions. That's what being a man is.
Yeah.
it's controlling your emotions.
Yes.
Or having control,
How do you control
of your own
yeah.
emotions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what being a man is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about dominating. It's not about being the biggest, the baddest, the ugliest, you know what I mean? The toughest, the roughest. None of those things. It's actually about being in control of your own emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're in control of your emotions, you know how you can best navigate the world around you.
Right. But you see, let me just jump in. But you see, I'm glad you mentioned, because one of the things Rasmin did say that when you in control of your emotions, one of the ways to be in control of your emotions, if you feel angry, feel upset, is breathing. You know, learn to breathe, learn to observe your breathing and just relax. You know, because breathing is a very powerful tool, what we need to integrate into our daily life. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But when you look at what it means to be a man from a Western perspective, what you find is that, you know, to be a man is to be, you know, a black man is to be the most violent. Well, this is what they market it as anyway. This is what marketing tells you. Is to be the most violent, the biggest, the baddest, you know, and you can, so now you can see, well, now I think I can see as to why our youngsters are going in this way.
Yeah.
What's happened to us
is
because we have bought into something that isn't ours, and a narrative that actually doesn't make sense. Our jobs are not to dominate. Our jobs are to provide, to look after. We are supposed to, you know, we are supposed to be the guardians in the community. Do you understand? The protectors of the community. Not dominate the community, but protect the community.
Protect the community, yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But the problem that we have is that a lot of people, and these are people that are doing good stuff, bad stuff, and ugly stuff, all believe that, you know, we need the alpha males to come forward and the leaders and all that stupidness that just breeds insecurity. And a lot of these things that you're seeing, like Rasmin, he said, you know, some of the biggest, baddest men are overly insecure.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you understand?
It's true. Oh, it's true.
You know, and it's the insecurity that causes them to do some madness. Do you understand? So
it's true.
There's I feel like we have a responsibility to start to change the narrative of what it means to be a black man. And if we can, and a black man has purpose. You understand? All the black men I know have purpose. Yeah. Rasmin, he has purpose. He's a black man that I know. Do you understand, brother Dougie? I know you. You have purpose, sir. Do you understand? And what these youngsters need to realize is that they need purpose, and they need to start valuing themselves. What we have to do as the older generation, I feel, is give them reasons to value themselves more.
Well, I think that's the key. That's the key word. That's the key thing. You know, purpose, and also value yourself more.
Yeah. But we have to give them reasons. We can't set these youngsters up on shaky ground, on sand. We need to give them, and we need to give them some real examples as to why they should have value in themselves. And this is why. And I don't think simply talking about, you know, Mansa Musa or these characters, or not these characters, these historic, you know, Imhotep as well. I'm not slagging off anybody. I actually think that the damage is so far done now, is that those gentlemen and what they achieved, the greatness that they achieved, it just can't be, it can't resonate with today's youth. Some of the youth, because some of the youth are doing, a lot of our youth are doing okay, very well. You know, it's just a number of them are just doing really, really bad.
Yeah, just a handful of them.
You know.
Okay, well, so, MX, I just want to because I just look at the time, right?
Yeah,
we are reason stronger, sir.
Chat out your show, you know.
No, man, no, but it's very powerful reasoning. You see what I'm saying? And I'm glad to see you up on the line, and also I like the way you was able to ride onto some of what Minty was saying as well. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, very powerful.
Minty,
you know,
Minty, that's my brethren from a long time. You get me? He definitely opened my eyes to a lot of the things that's going on, and a lot of the even if somebody thinks that I sound like a connected brother or whatever, if somebody thinks that, then you have to actually look at Ras Mini, because he's the one that showed me, excuse me, bro, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And when I did, I changed certain things, and I realized, yeah, you know what, he's kind of right still. We are Africans. You know what I mean?
For real. I think.
Yeah.
All right, then, my brother. So listen.
All right, then, sir.
Big up yourself, big up your family, man. Cause no, sir, your dude is a leader. They say that those who read are leaders. So she's definitely a leader, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and the great work you're doing with your family, man. I'm very proud of you, man. Very emotionally, I'm very proud of you, man. And I can't wait to see you and hug you, you know, in the physical, you know what I mean, and embrace you as a brother, you know what I mean. And yeah. Okay then. No, but love for a few more. Yeah.
All right. Peace, man. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. Respect, man.
One.
All right then. So that was MX on the line there. Very conscious brother. Very on point. And you know, it's amazing because you know when you're hosting a talk show like this, one of the greatest feeling you get, right, when you hear a young brother making those contributions. You heard Ras Minty talking earlier on, right? We heard Kinsu reason with us earlier on and talk about the emotion and acceptance and identity. You know, it's amazing. You know, when you hear these kind of reasoning, see, and these kind of reason we want to bring to the table. These kind of we want to bring out to the public as well. See. Because like I said before, my mission is, and my focus is for us to talk about mental health, stress, pressure. Here the brother said, what is to be a man, a black man. See? So these are kind of reasoning we want to bring to the forefront. Definitely. So we got less than 12 minutes. So again, you're lucky to the big one, Bless Radio. And earlier we had Jammaster who was here, but he had to make an exit still. You know, he's a busy man.
I've listened, and afterwards she goes, that was one of the best conversations we've ever had. And I'll chuckle inside and go, I didn't say a word. Okay. And I have to say it's happened the other way too. Sometimes I'll talk for an hour, and my wife will just kind of listen and nod her head, and afterwards I'll say, that was the best conversation we had. She'll go, yeah, I didn't say a word. No, but it's a sense, that's a one-way conversation. That's Venusian. That's where your partner is fully listening to what you have to say. And they're just sharing and sharing and sharing. We're right there for them. Nodding and I understand. Occasional little questions here to draw them out. Now, Martian conversation is all in the head. Okay? It's, okay, this is a problem. What should we do about it? Well, I have a problem with that. Well, let's look at your problem with that. Analyze that. If you looked at it this way, then it wouldn't have to look at it that way. So this is a possibility. Well, we could conjecture this, or we have this model here, or there's this idea here. And you're actually capable of holding several different concepts at once, which are even contradictory, because you're saying, well, we could look at it this way, or we could look at it this way, and let's pick whichever way to look at it that feels the best. Okay? And that's sort of the way a debate, you know, you can debate any point of view. Okay? You just have an intellectual argument, what's logical, what makes sense. And here you are up in your head. And there'll be times when, it's myself and my wife, we're having a Martian conversation. Let's say we're deciding whether we're going to buy a house. This happened, we were buying our house and 8 months ago or so, and which is this big major decision. And we're going through all these conversations. Should we buy it, and can we afford it, and how much more should we stretch ourselves, and what would happen if this happened, and what's the upside, what's the downside. And we're talking about the whole thing, and it worked out very well. We're just problem solving together. Everybody can relate to that. You're in your head. You're not worrying about anybody's feelings, whatever, because everybody's feeling fine, and you're figuring this thing out. So then we're in escrow. The money's down. We're into this thing. All of a sudden, we're driving home, and my wife says to me, "John, I don't know if we should be buying this house." Okay. Now, what kind of conversation does she want to have at that moment? She wants to just talk about her feelings. She's afraid, she's worried, she's concerned. She wants to talk and be heard and understood. Part of her needs to be heard, okay? She needs reassurance. She needs to bring out things that maybe we haven't discussed before. She's very afraid, okay? And of course, I've already gone through all my stuff. I've made my decision. I'm done with this whole thing, thinking she's doing it too.
Okay then, just want to make an announcement that on the 17th, and I think that's this Sunday coming, Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. That's next Sunday, that's 17th of February. Time from 1 to 8. At the Loughborough Centre. That's 105 Angel Road, Brixton. The postcode is SW9 7PD. For more information, call Auntie Jean, which is 07961 886 032. I repeat, 07961 886 032. That's Auntie G. So if you want more information, hosted by Stella and Nat Naya, and there'll be a showcase, and there'll be a libation by the chief, and there'll be drumming by Russ Prince, and then special guest is Sevens. You know, as you know, she's the creator of many worldwide award-winning TV production. As you know, was stolen from her. And then there's Tony, interactive activity. Classic Cloud, we'll talk about mind control. And how you can protect and protect your mind. And also be system. We're promoting the theatre production she'll be appearing in. So there'll be open mic, poets, singers, musician, and there'll be spoken word artists. So again, stores and more information, please contact Auntie Jean. And number is 07961 886 032. I repeat, 07961 886 032. So that's this Sunday at the Loughborough Centre, 105 Angel Road. So again, that's this Sunday, which is the 17th. And for more information, 07961 886 032. Auntie G's African Market taking place this Sunday. And you know, very powerful market. You know, Auntie G's brand is going from strength to strength. She'll go on some big things. And you know, Seven's gonna be there, Classic Clyde's gonna be there. And Seven's a powerful sister. In fact, I was trying to get her to do a phone in, but I wasn't able to get hold of her. But hopefully, probably next week, I will try my best to get hold of her. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left. So you're locked into the big one, Bless Radio.
Here. We're really having a conversation of understanding each other's feelings. Can any women relate to what I'm talking about there? So, man, it's like, from your side, is to try to regulate what kind of conversation you're having so you know what mode to go into. And for women, the more you can be aware of what mode you're in, it helps a man out. Like the other day, my wife said to me, she goes, she came home and I was late or something, and she was upset with me for being late and not calling or something like that. And I listened. I said, yeah, you know, and that was really stupid of me. I should have given you a call. And she goes, yeah, you should have really given me a call. You haven't given me a call in a long time, you know. And I said, well, what else happened today? And then she goes, you mean before you were late? You know, because she knows what I'm doing, which is trying to get her to talk about other things which are bothering her. Because if she can talk about other things which are bothering her, then all of a sudden I don't feel like it's all being put on me. Otherwise, when she's really upset, I assume that all of her upset has to do with me. And it's rare that all of a woman's upset has to do with one thing. It always has to do with a lot of different things. But we men misinterpret it because when we're upset, we tend to get upset about one thing. We focus on one thing. So when she's upset and she's focused on me, I assume I'm the biggest problem in her life today. And that's not the case. I might just be one of the problems. And she can just talk and talk and talk about other things. It allows me to understand there's a lot of other things going on here other than me creating unhappiness in her life. Okay, so that's just, that's me working with it, but to understand more. But if she can tell me and prepare me by simply saying, this has really been a bad day, John. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I need to talk. Okay, that kind of like says, okay, brace your stomach, John. Realize it's going to sound like it's all your fault, and it's not. Okay, but it's going to sound that way in the beginning until she starts talking about the other things which are bothering her, and then you'll realize it's not. And occasionally what I'll say to her when she's upset with me or complaining about something is I'll listen for a little while, not more than a minute and a half of complaining before I need to pause for a moment, and I go, it starts to sound like you're saying that it's all my fault. Is that what you're saying, or are you just sharing what's going on? And she'll go, I'm just sharing what's going on. It's not all your fault. Part of it is, but not all your fault. I go, good. As long as it's not all my fault, okay? And she'll reassure me again and again, and I'll ask for that reassurance, that it's not all my fault. And occasionally I've listened to her, and sometimes she was really bummed out and down, and I came in feeling brisk and fresh and light and happy and said, oh, well, tell me what's the matter, honey, and I'd give her a little hug and listen to her for a while. And after about 4 minutes or 5 minutes of listening, all of a sudden I'm sunk with her, and I'm all bummed out, just like our life is miserable now, you know, nothing seems to be working. And I'm like upset, and a part of me, I've learned not to be upset with her for being bummed out, because sometimes you just have to be bummed out with life. But now I'm bummed out. And it's kind of like, yeah, now I feel awful. But I didn't say that. I was just kind of like bummed out with her. And she looked at me and she says, oh, now I've done it to you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bum you out. And I said, oh, really? And then she says to me, oh, I didn't mean to bum you out, but I really do appreciate when you listen to me. And as soon as she said, I appreciate when you listen to me, it's like all of a sudden I was free from being bummed out. It's amazing. If you can just let a man know that he's helping, then his energy comes back to him.
Okay then. So, just playing a recording of John Gray talking about emotions, the whole thing about relationship, and the whole thing about listening, to your partner. Yeah. So it's been a very powerful show. Again, want to big up to those who contributed. Big up to MX for his contribution, touching the whole thing. And he touched on certain things but I'm not really familiar with, thing about mental health. What I'm not familiar with, he touched on things what definitely haven't been thought about. And that's good, because it's definitely helped me. And also asked me to talk about the whole thing about focusing, the mind, goals, vision, purpose. See? And also we had Kinsu talking about the stuff what we hold on to. So again, I want to give thanks. Give thanks to Jammers who was here earlier on. He had to make a move because he had to do some work. He's a hard working individual. So he has to deal with that. I always give thanks and praise to man like Jammers because he's a beautiful brother, got a beautiful soul about him. And he's really good at meetings, able to be here and to host the show together. See? Beautiful, beautiful brother. Big up to the Speakers Club every single time. Also want to big up to Find Your Voice. And also, we said on the 23rd, we'll have an event focused around mental health. So we're going to try to encourage many people to come out. It will be at the St. Anne's Library, which is N15. That's on the 23rd. Time is from 4 to 8. 4 to 8. So I said, we want to give thanks to the Most High every time.
Because our body is now mature. Okay, but that's not the case. Our body matures, but our emotions don't mature. Generally, what you can find is around 28, you go through a stage for many people of an emotional maturity. Lots of people go through very dramatic changes in their life around 28. It's a time where you say, you know, I'm not going to live my life for anybody else. I'm going to live it by me from now on. Can anybody relate to some of those changes? Maybe around 27, 28, 29, somewhere around there. But of course, there was the physical maturity around 21 where you sort of got to the height and the body build that you're going to have for the rest of your life. And around 13 is another major turning point, is where you start becoming aware of your sexual differences. Kind of like a sexual maturity begins at that point. It's like all of a sudden, hey, I'm a guy and you're a girl, and there's these differences. And before that, around 7 years old, in psychology, we observe a real important turning point with the child development, is where a child starts turning away from the parents and socialize and becomes more a social being, relating to itself, relating to others. And of course, in the first 7 years, they say that's when we have our most formative time. That's when we got all our programs at that time, where we learn about ourselves. And the way I see it is in that first 7 years is where we get a picture of ourselves as far as how much we deserve. Okay, the worthiness. The way your parents treat you at that time and what you see, the way they treat you, teaches you about what you're worthy of. This is why this healing inner child technique is so important, that we connect with that child, the feelings of that child, the pictures that we have of ourselves and the world at that time, and heal that, and create positive pictures. So, in a sense, all these different tanks that I just talked about, they actually develop as we mature. The first tank that we need filled is when we're in the womb and around birth. And that is vitamin G. That's the whole period while we're in the womb. Is our major relationship is a relationship with God or higher power. And what that means is if you look at really what's going on to the baby in the womb, everything's being done for you. Everything is done for you. Your body is being built. Do you have to do anything? No, you just sit there and watch the whole thing and play with your fingers, whatever, you look around. It's all this fun thing happens. Okay. Now, this is where we're at that time where we're developing a relationship with God. This is when it's most important for the mother to be happy. Because if the mother is not happy during pregnancy,